You just got drilled 65-7. 65-7. They got drilled last night. That's okay. Better luck next year. Go and regroup, learn from it, look at your film, and then you walk away and you go, we're going to be the better team for it. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, you can feel free to do so. Now, and this was the question yesterday. Yesterday was a weird night because normally I'm gearing up for Monday Night Football and I'm hanging out at the house. I'm going to head down to the bar. I'm going to get one beverage. I get a cigar. I sit back and I watch the Monday Night Football game or part of it. I'm making my notes. I'm getting ready for the next game for the Packers. Yesterday was really weird. It was weird, man. Now, granted, Kristen's son had his birthday, so we took him to his birthday dinner. And we went to the distillery out in Grafton last night and did that and watched part of the national championship game. But it was just strange that I didn't have notes to make. And Ben, did it feel weird last night? Yeah. 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 It was funny because Kristen said to me last night, she goes, "So what are we going to do Sunday?" And I went, "What do you mean?" And then it dawned on me, I don't have a game to cover. And I said, "Well, I mean, I'm a football fanatic. I'm gonna watch football doing something." But yesterday, I know, when I was talking about, I was doing our spot for Robert Specialty Meats, and I said, "Well, I'm probably gonna do a little grilling out or whatever." But it's just a weird. It feels weird. Once the Green Bay Packers season comes to an end, it feels like you're lost. Like you're just wandering through this sports, like a nomad right now, the sports desert of what am I going to do? Now very little because it's like we're down, we got nothing, and all of a sudden, Mike and I are texting. Mike, me and Zach are texting, and suddenly we're preparing for all of our, stuff to be sent to this year to Arizona for Super Bowl. We're going to start shipping pieces of the studio out, and I've got all the houses all lined up and charity winners. Okay, so that keeps us busy, but to not have a Packers game to cover, especially when it comes playoff time, it's just bizarre. It's a really weird feeling right now. So the question I kept getting asked last night, which is a very roundabout way to get there, is how come we thought they were going to be good? And I looked at people last night and I don't know. I don't know. We just did. We thought that would be better. And I think that there was a lot revolving around the quarterback this season that shouldn't have. The thumb issue, he probably should have sat for a game or two. Figured this way, had he sat for a game or two and Jordan Love came in and won just one game, what happened on Sunday was meaningless because the Packers would have been in. Had they beaten Detroit or Washington or, any one of those teams that are normally, had they won those games, and it would have been a different outcome. But it was weird. It was weird, no doubt. 877-867-1670, 877-1670. If you want to give us a shout, go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. The Aaron Rodgers saga with the thumb, the trying to get everybody on the same page, the start for Christian Watson, first being, nicked up in training camp and then getting the chance to play and only playing a short period of time. And then Romeo Doubs and they never really got on the field at the same time. And, I think it was, then Sammy Watkins being kind of forced into the mix, who was just awful. There was so many layers of the onion as to why the offense didn't function. Matt LaFleur's play calling this year was garbage for the most part. I mean, just garbage.
to numerous times stand at the podium and go, yeah, I didn't get Aaron Jones the football. That's unacceptable. We got to check the tape. And you just put it on replay was embarrassing as a head coach. I mean, he's one of your best weapons. I mean, how do you forget about him? I mean, that's just dumb. You can't call yourself a head coach and then continuously go to the podium and say that. That's embarrassing. Obviously Aaron Jones towards the end of the season getting nicked up as well, and the back and forth with Bakhtiari, and just as he starts to really get into a groove, and then he ends up, with an appendicitis, and it was just like his season was somewhat jinxed. But I'll say this, as much as we want to point for the first portion of the season our finger at the defense, and you can, the offense never got on track. And Aaron Rodgers was inexplicably bad. Or average, if you want to call it that, which for Aaron Rodgers is bad in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it never got on track. We estimated the defense when the draft choices were made that it was just going to be better. Jair getting the contract, everything was settled there. Stokes going down with an injury, Rashawn Gary going down with an injury. And we said that this was a defense that you really could not afford large injuries to befall them. You couldn't. You couldn't do that. And it just, you couldn't afford key injuries to certain people because the depth wasn't there. You just didn't have enough money to go out and buy additional depth, Jason says, what did Aaron Rodgers end up on the season? I think he was like the 17th ranked quarterback in the league when it comes to quarterback rating. In yards per game, he was way down there. Yards per game. Yeah, he was probably about the same, 17th to 20th, something like that. And then, obviously having, numerous touchdowns on the season. Aaron Rodgers never, goes into double digits, and he had 12 of them. This year. 26 touchdowns, 12, less than 30 touchdowns. 26 touchdowns, 12 picks, sacked 32 times on the year, which is not a huge number, but it ranks 14th. So it wasn't like he was continuously under pressure. That's middle of the pack. It's nothing excessive. I mean, Russell Wilson sacked 55 times because he hangs onto the ball. Justin Fields sacked 55 times because he had a really porous offensive line. Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith both sacked quite a bit. Joe Burrow was sacked 41 times, the majority of those in the first half of the season after that line was trying to figure itself out. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts was sacked 36 times, so it wasn't like Rodgers was under siege. It just inexplicable misses, an offense that never got on track, play calling that was sporadically pathetic and predictable. I mean, literally, as we're sitting there on Twitter predicting, here it comes. 3rd and 2, they're going to throw deep, go 4 wide with one back set and a shotgun. Oh, here you go. There you go. That's what they run. No motion, no nothing. Get rid of. And I was watching yesterday on Get Up, and they were saying a lot of the same thing. Like, where did the play action go? Where did Aaron Rodgers under center with the ability, with his amazing ability to fake handoffs and hide the football and get misdirection going on defense? And where did all that go? Where did that creativity go? Was that when Nathaniel Hackett left? Did it leave? Did it walk out the door? Is Matt LaFleur really not the brains of the offense? I mean, he's got to look in a mirror, and not just to fix his hair and his mustache and his eyebrows. I mean, he's got to look in a mirror and say, I need to be better. And if I'm not, then pretty much next year's it. You're done. Because if this embarrassing display, it can't be run back again. 877-867-1670. Justin's got a great question. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. But don't forget, coming up tomorrow night, we're going to be at the Thirsty Duck. The huddles do not end. We are going to continue on. Brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. We're going to be at the Thirsty Duck in Sussex tomorrow night. The Thirsty Duck in Sussex tomorrow night, 6 to 8. Bill Michaels Huddle happening then. Looking forward to seeing you out there. And again, it's all brought to you by our proud sponsor now, 22 years with the program. That's our friends at Bud Light. Stay tuned. We got more right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry! To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The next 2 weeks, and obviously it's time to make evaluations, and it's not finger pointing, it's just part of the process. Will Joe Barry be your defensive coordinator next year?
That's what I anticipate, yes. I would say this, that, like I said, we're at the initial stages of all the evaluations, and quite frankly, I don't really anticipate a whole lot, if any, staff changes at all. I do think there's something to the guys that we have in this building. Certainly, I think there's a lot of things that all of us can improve upon, most notably myself. But I do believe in the people, not only in the locker room, but our coaching staff. And
palm to forehead, man. Palm to forehead. Joe Barry's going to be back. There's your boat anchor. I picture Matt LaFleur right now standing on the front bow of a ship, and they're like, Matt, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to run it back. All right. And the boat anchor says it's on the Joe Barry. And so he's got his arms around it. He's like, no, not making changes. Making changes are bad. I don't have the cojones to fire anybody. I'm not doing it. And they're like, that's fine. But as the season goes on and you jump in the water, yeah, you're going to the bottom, dude. Going to the bottom. The question, two things were posed to me. One was, if Joe Barry was that bad, do you believe the defense was good enough to get you to the postseason? Yes, I do. I think the defense played well enough at the end of the season to be a contender. The problem I have is not the last game 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. What I have a problem with is game 1 through 12. That's what I have a problem with. The fact that you were massively dumb right out of the chute against the Minnesota Vikings. I just, you got dump trucked. You couldn't stop anybody. The fact that we're looking continuously of either one position, the inability, or three, and you and I have all noted it. When you're looking at a 2nd and 5 and guys are playing 8-9 yards off the ball, it doesn't take a math genius to figure out a first down's coming. And your defense not only was on the field too long in many cases, they were dying death by 1,000 cuts. But we didn't give up the big play. But instead, they ate up 4 minutes off the clock to go and score. Oh, okay. I understand some injuries happened, and Savage didn't play well to start the season and had to be ultimately benched. You lose Stokes. You lost Rashawn Gary midway through the season. There were some things there. You had to, Rasul Douglas didn't play necessarily great early on. There was some problems. Yeah, you moved guys around. You had to figure out positions, which I still can't believe it took you that long to figure them out. And what we had said in the beginning of training camp, when there was so much of a wow factor, because, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers picked off. And we kept saying, it's training camp. But then we kept thinking, boy, this defense is that good. Holy mackerel, they're picking off Aaron Rodgers. This is amazing. No, it really turned out that Aaron Rodgers was just bad. And the defense was inept. And it didn't really come together until it was too late. You dug yourself too much of a hole. Alex asks if I feel good that I had put the dagger in him and they ultimately didn't make the postseason. No, Alex, no, I wanted them to win. I was rooting for the Packers to win. I'm rooting for the Packers on different levels. One was as a fan of Green Bay, and I grew up a Packers fan. It wasn't like just because I didn't start out my life here, didn't mean I wasn't a Packers fan. Yes, I've always been a Packers fan. So, yes, I wanted them to win. Secondly, personally, it's good for the business. It's good for us. I'd rather be sitting here right now talking about the matchup going into San Francisco coming up next weekend. We had a watch party plan. We were going to be at the Distillery in Grafton, actually doing the show, post-game show live from there, but a full watch party. We had prizes. We had stuff to give away. We had a whole party planned. That was all washed off the board, thanks to their ineptitude. So there was so many reasons that I wanted to see the Packers win. I don't take pleasure in it. I looked at when they dug that hole early on. I thought this is probably just too much to dig out of. Now, after a loss against Detroit, it was an emotional moment in which I say this team sucks because they couldn't play any worse. So no, I don't take pleasure in it, but it just is what it is. It's just a bad football team that dug themselves a hole, and now they're going to run back Joe Barry, a guy that helped them dig the hole. Philosophically speaking, don't look for aggressiveness. Don't look for anything next year. Go back to the beginning of the season, playing off the ball. Don't give up big plays. Play it safe. Be in the right place at the right time. I'm not going to get creative. We're just going to see what happens. And you hope you don't get beat 2, 3, 4, 5 times early on to start, again, digging that hole. Let's go to the phone calls. Let's talk to our buddy Mike in Cut A. Mike, how you doing today? What's going on, man?
Well, I'll tell you what. Looking at everything realistically, Bill, and you took a lot of wind out of my sails when you talked before this last segment. Beginning of the season, I don't want to keep rehashing stuff, but look, Rodgers signs a big contract. Devontae Adams is gone. We get rookies that are rookies. They're not a seasoned all-pro veteran that's had the chemistry with Rodgers. Rodgers gets a big contract, and what does he do? Doesn't go to OTAs. The first thing you need to do is show leadership and show up to those freaking OTAs. You got paid. You got to get some chemistry and timing down with your receivers. They're rookies. You can't trade Devontae Adams, and I don't care if they're 2 or 3 first-round receivers. The next thing is these previous 3 seasons, perfect storm, great record, couldn't back it up. So were we legitimate contenders? No, we were pretenders. We're one and done in the playoffs. So what makes anybody think that if we won this game going into San Francisco, do we really have the horses to win it all? Do we have the horses to even put in the race to win it all? I mean, realistically, Bill, we don't. And let's quit kidding ourselves. The gravy train, the Rodgers gravy train, the wheels have fallen off. It's off the tracks. It's time to start a new era. You got to get rid of, 3, 4 players. They take up, $100 million? Where are we going to find the holes to fill in free agency or whatever when you don't have the money to spend? You got these players. It's dead cap money. Let's not fool ourselves. This is not a blow it all up and make a new team. You got to fill holes. You need money to do that. And you don't have it. So what are you going to do? Let's not kid ourselves.
No, I understand that. I appreciate the phone call. When you talk about, okay, let's just say you go into next year with the guys that you have, okay? You're not that far away cap-wise from getting under the cap. You're $9 million over right now, and they can do whatever they want. Okay, they can get creative with all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, they were $36 million over going into this season, and they got creative enough to figure out where they had room. So, $9 million over in today's day and age is no big deal. Okay, you've got. I hate to say it, but Adrian Amos could be a salary cap casualty at $7.9 million. Dean Lowry, bye. Don't need it. You got Jerron Reed for a year. Randall Cobb is an interesting concept because he is a safety net. If you bring Rodgers back, he's kind of Rodgers' guy. And I'll be honest, Randall Cobb surprised me this year. He played pretty well. I don't mind running him back, but I'm not running him back for $8-9 million. I'm running him back for minimum at best. Mercedes Lewis is gone. Mason Crosby is an interesting cat. There's got to be a kicker out there that you could probably get. There's a couple of them that you can think of that are pretty good, that are probably coming out of college, that are going to make minimal, save a few million there. Robert Tonyan, he's a $500,000 dude. You know, you can bring him back, but you have got to pay attention to the tight end position. There's some ways to make things happen if you choose to do so. And right there, I mean, between Adrian Amos, Dean Lowry, Jerron Reed, if you bring him back, or if you don't, Randall Cobb, whatever, right there, I've just cut like $9 million. So you're back to zero before you even adjust a contract, you know? So I think you can have money, but it starts with the quarterback. And I think Marcus Spears was awesome this morning. They said, Marcus, now that, the offseason has begun, and the decision is with Aaron Rodgers, whether or not he comes back or not. And then he stopped him and said, I don't give a damn if Aaron Rodgers comes back. I don't want to hear it. And then he went on a rant saying, stop acting like you're on a different plane. You played poorly. If you're coming back, you're making 30, 40, 50 million bucks. Get your ass into OTAs and mini camps. Quit acting like you're the best, because you're not. And get in and run this thing back. Otherwise, quit holding the team hostage. And that's exactly what he would be doing. So they make a decision. So like I said yesterday when I started the show off, you got a month. And then I'm Brian Gutekunst, and I'm flying out to say what's going on. Because if you're not all in and you're getting 40, 50 million bucks, whatever it happens, whatever the exact number is, if you're not all in, then you're not all in, and I don't need you. Not with what we just saw. And this whole thing about Aaron Rodgers playing with a chip on his shoulder, he's going to bounce back and win MVPs. No, he's not. No, he's not. Maybe he's going to play to that level at the age of 40. But what we saw this year, this whole thing of he's got other injuries and all these, everybody's making excuses. It's like, stop. We saw it at the end of the season last year, and we saw him play this year. There's always an excuse for poor play. And in this season, let's call it what it is. This season, he played poorly. By Aaron Rodgers' standards, he played poorly. It starts with the quarterback and trickles down. And then you can talk about the youth and inexperience of the wide receivers and, Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard's Alan Lazard. He's a good, solid receiver, but he's not a number one. He's not a number two. He's a number three, number four type of receiver. Your tight end position is lacking. But you got to use them too. As much as I can sit here and say where all the ineptitudes are on this team, you actually have to use them and actually incorporate things like that into your game plan. And I think Matt LaFleur was a massive failure this year as well. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Hey, if you are looking for a house that is more beautiful, more economical, and more valuable, all you got to do is add some windows. If you have leaky windows, drafty windows, windows that aren't paned properly, the glass in between or the air in between the glass gone, it's not really creating that barrier anymore to the outside cold. All you got to do is get a hold of our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. We are having an unseasonably warmer winter right now. And I know that may not mean a lot, but what it tells me is at some point we're going to get our butts kicked. And eventually you're going to need the windows. And you're going to say, God, I wish I would have listened. God, I wish I would have listened. Just like I did. I ended up listening. And my little voice inside kept saying, get that patio door. So I finally did. And when we got the cold snap a while back, oh, boy, did it save big time. My bills go up exponentially. I got a what's called like a great room. It's a really big room downstairs, and it used to get really cold. The heat couldn't keep up in that room, and that's where that patio door was. And it would be a cold day outside, wind chills of 10, 15, 20 below, and that room would always be at like 59 to 63, somewhere in there, even though it was set at 70. And this winter, when we got that cold snap, it never moved. It was always at 70. And it's only because I replaced that big giant patio door with a new door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. It's fantastic, and it saved me. So do what I did. The proof's in the pudding for me. I mean, it is what it is. It just turned out to be a really good purchase. Go to PellaWI.com. That is Pella, P-E-L-L-A, PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com, and see for yourself what Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can do for you. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to our, let's see here. Who do we got? We got John listening to us in Atlanta. John, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Hey, good. Hey, Bill. Yeah, I think with the Packer conversation, it's a rinse and repeat organization, since LaFleur's been here. So I think I think the expectations, like you said, they were so high this year. But I think we have to just go back and realize it's rinse and repeat for LaFleur. So I think if he does bring everybody back, I mean, just don't have any expectations. Just enjoy your Sunday and, win or lose. It is what it is. I mean, they're not going to get any further. I don't feel, But
right.
But speaking about rinse and repeat, you want to go to the game last night?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a rinse and repeat organization. I mean, Georgia, like you were saying, did TCU show up? Probably not. But let's be honest. I don't know if you watch much Georgia football, but that's what they do.
Right.
They've done that for 2 years now. And they bypassed Alabama. Let's just be honest. Nothing against Saban.
Yes, they did.
But right now, they're not way above Alabama, but Alabama's an afterthought, at least these last couple of years. Let's just be honest. I mean, they beat Alabama last year, so everyone has to admit to that.
Right.
But I guess that's probably just a given. But man, what a performance last night. I mean, just total domination. I mean, if LaFleur could learn anything from Kirby, it would have been that pregame speech. I don't know if you saw it, but
I did not, but I saw afterwards and what they were talking about in getting guys prepared to play and how they go about their business. And obviously Stetson Bennett, I mean, he's a hell of a quarterback and has excelled. But going back to your point about Alabama, it's okay. It's like the college football world is in turmoil because the great Nick Saban isn't there. It's like, who cares? It's okay. You're allowed to have another champion that has won back-to-back since Alabama did it. But I agree with you. I mean, Georgia has been a powerhouse now for going on 2 straight years, and there's no reason to think, I mean, obviously they're graduating some guys, and Stetson Bennett obviously is leaving and such. But, there's no reason to think that Georgia's suddenly going to have this dramatic fall off. They have taken over the top spot in college football, and it's okay. Right? Yeah.
I agree. I think, I mean, I feel like Kirby, and he's a disciple of Saban, so you got to call it what it is.
Right.
But man, I mean, you got to respect what he's done. And just his way, the way he carries himself. I mean, that opening question to him was, what do you expect? And he's like, aggression. Would you imagine LaFleur saying that before a game? I don't know.
Oh, no.
Vocabulary,
no, he would hem and haw.
And it's like all he said. That's all he said.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, I wish we could get some mojo from Georgia.
Can you imagine asking Joe Barry prior to a game what he can expect? I don't think they'd have any words. I don't even think he knows the word aggression.
Yeah, and not to put them down, but I mean, and then I'll throw this at you. What do you think about the SEC compared to the Big Ten? I mean, I know the Big Ten's trying to reach the SEC. They're not. They're getting closer, but let's be honest. Ohio State, they had Georgia on the ropes for a half.
Yeah,
and they couldn't finish them off.
Right. I'll say this though. I've never been a fan of Ryan Day. And Ryan Day has not been able to win those consistent big games and beat ranked teams consistently either, top 10 teams consistently either since he took over the program. So I in no way, shape, or form think that Ohio State under Ryan Day is suddenly going to ascend to take their place at top college football. I just don't see it happening. They're going to be a power in the Big Ten, but I don't think they're going to be a power overall because he's just consistently cannot beat teams that are ranked higher than him.
Don't you think it's kind of embarrassing for Michigan? I mean, TCU, Michigan had a chance in that game against TCU. And then TCU, but in a sense, TCU kind of dominated them. It just shows you, I think, again, how head and shoulders the SEC is. I don't think it's even close.
Yeah.
If Michigan would have squeezed out that game, not that Georgia would have did the beatdown like last night, but they still would have beat them. It's just different it's just different coaching.
But think about this, though. You were a couple of plays away from it being an Ohio State-Michigan matchup.
I agree.
And
I don't even know. Yeah, and that would have been, for all those fans, would have been a nice little matchup. But man, I know I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm obviously a Packer fan. But watching Georgia for the last 20 years, it's just fun watching a team that tackles and just has a coach that outcoaches others. It's a beautiful feeling. I know with LaFleur we have never had that, but man, as a fan, it's just so enjoyable to watching the better coach in a big game.
Yep.
It's amazing.
No doubt. Good stuff, man. I appreciate it. He drops off. You get on board 877-867-1670. Stick around. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers cleaned out their locker yesterday after losing to the Lions on Sunday night. Rookie linebacker Quay Walker apologized for being ejected from the game in the fourth quarter.
Just a selfish act of me. Very stupid and dumb. I'd say immature of me. I seem to overreact at times, and reached out to the trainer earlier today, talked to him for a long time, continue to apologize and just pray that he forgive me. And also told him to reach out to the team if he can and to the other trainers as well.
Walker explained when Lions running back DeAndre Swift went down with an injury, he went to check on him. They're friends and former teammates at Georgia. When a Lions medical staffer pushed Walker aside, he shoved him back, and that's when he drew the flag. Matt LaFleur.
I'll never defend the action, but I'll defend the person. And I think Quay, he feels terrible about it, rightfully so. I don't think Quay is a malicious person.
And several Packers players will become free agents this spring. Tight end Robert Tonyan.
I think that's honestly the hardest part, is not knowing who you're going to play with next year in terms of like just the reality of an NFL locker room. Just people come and go, daily, to be honest with you. And then, of course, after the season, you just never know. So that's kind of why you can't take things for granted and people for granted, because you never know when you're going to play with them again or see them or, talk to them and feel their energy. So, that's probably the hardest part.
That's Packers tight end Robert Tonyan. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
Hey, our friends at Kane Jewelers. Now, I know the holidays are over. You may not be in the market necessarily for jewelry at this point, but it's a new year, and who knows whether it's engagement coming up. It could be just a birthday present, an anniversary gift. There is no better place than right there in West Bend, where they rock your world. That's our friends at Kane Jewelers, located right in West Bend. If you want to check them out online, go to Kane, Koehn, KaneJewelry.com, KaneJewelry.com. But at the bottom of the page, scroll down. Andy Kane, who's the owner out there, him and his wife, great people. But he does a Buy Like a Guy podcast, and it's pretty cool. They do bourbons and all this kind of stuff. They get into all kinds of different stuff, and it's a really good listen. So if you're surfing around one day and you go to Kane Jewelry, go to the bottom of the page, and you'll see the Buy Like a Guy link. Just click on it. You're good to go. You can find it over on Instagram too, Buy Like a Guy, and find his stuff there. But just good stuff from our friends at Kane Jewelers. Let's get back to the phone calls. 877-867-1670. Let's go to our buddy Ty listening to us in Philadelphia. Ty, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Hey, man, long time.
What's happening, bud?
What's going on, Billy Mike?
Well, I am still kind of feeling empty right now with without a Packers game to prepare for this weekend. It's kind of a weird, surreal feeling. I'm not used to this right now.
Man, listen, it's been a long, tumultuous year for me watching the Eagles be as good as they has been. They beat us, and just watching Aaron Rodgers not be as good. But
yes,
I look at it like, what you've been saying about him, man, looking himself in the mirror is right on point. I mean, it's just, like him leaving these seasons like how he has been the last 3 years. It's not a good look for his legacy. He has to be self-aware enough to understand that.
Right.
You're going into a year where you got younger receivers. You got to show up. You got to, he needs to take a pay cut. Show some leadership, take a pay cut, get with some of these other vets that didn't play up to their contract level this year, whether it's Rasul Douglas, whether it's Devondre Campbell didn't play as good as he did last year. Yeah, and, y'all go out and fill some holes because he's going to need some veterans to come in. We're not getting to the Super Bowl with Dobbs and Watson as our number one and number two. So, and we also need a tight end, a reliable one. So, whether it's Odell Beckham if he want to come in, whether it's Darren Waller if he want to come in, but he needs to show some leadership. I also think LaFleur needs to show some balls about this Joe Barry thing. I mean, I just don't understand how to keep thing and up. We did it this year with the kick returner all year. I just thought I would not. Joe Barry did not even know what to do with his cornerbacks. Right. He did not know what to do with them this year.
He couldn't recognize the talent he had. Yeah, I agree.
He did not know how to use the talent he had. The Packers are not far away with Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback, but I have to admit that he is as much as the problem as anybody else, and so is Matt LaFleur. If you're supposed to be known for your play calling, and you can't beat a blitz or all-out blitz on a 3rd and 2, then there's something wrong with that.
There's something wrong with Rodgers in the sense that it used to be, man, you'd run safeties around back there, go single high and stuff, and it was easy. And it's just all of a sudden, it's like just lock on one guy, and that's where you're going with the football. And
that's how the season has ended for the last 3 years.
Right.
Home playoff games. This is why I say he has to be self-aware enough to look himself in the mirror. He can't step back foot on Lambeau Field making $60 million without giving his team the opportunity to win a Super Bowl at 40 years old.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Nope, 100% agree, man. Appreciate it. Always great to talk to you, Ty. Thanks so much. Our buddy Ty and our buddy L, Ben, those two guys are in Philly, man. When you go back home, you should look these guys up.
I mean, I think they've both expressed how unhappy they are that the Eagles are good.
That's okay.
So I don't know how that would go.
Philly, you should be sitting in a bar, some local neighborhood bar in Philadelphia, and arguing sports and drinking beer and beverages, and that's what we should be doing. You should be
complaining about Aaron Rodgers. I think we're all on the same page there.
Yeah, I think there's I might have to facilitate that if we go to Philly. If we say we go for maybe we'll go to a Brewers game or something. If when they play Philly this year, maybe we'll go there. Just hang out. Is that bar? There's a Holiday Inn right there next to what was that bar called inside Holiday Inn?
Oh, I don't know. They've added a lot to the ballpark, and they actually have some outdoor bars at the ballpark, which are kind of not part of the actual game experience. So I think that bar has been left behind.
Maybe. Okay. Cause they had a bar there, man. It was like, the logo was like an old dude with a scruffy beard. I can't remember, like Hobo Joe's or something. I can't remember what the hell it was, but that was a good bar. It was a good drinking bar, man. We were out there years ago for the, when the Brewers were in the postseason, sat in that bar, did a pregame show. And it was just a good drinking, arguing sports bar. It was fun. The good old days. Stay tuned. We still got three yet to go. Hang in there. Hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this. Phone numbers, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to get a hold of us on Twitter, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. You can follow us via Facebook, via YouTube, Twitch. Continue to subscribe over on YouTube. We certainly appreciate it. Could use all the subscribers we could get over there. So even if you don't watch the show, go to youtube.com and just search Bill Michaels, or Bill Michaels Show, actually. And just click subscribe. We certainly appreciate it. If you're on your desktop or on your phone or something like that, please, please, please go over and subscribe to us. We would thank you. And then you can follow us on Twitch TV, which is an app that you can download on your phone. You can follow us on Twitch. Twitch is a great way to follow and listen to the program. You can always download the app out of the Zone in Madison, WOZN, the Zone, Madison. Download that app. All of that. So you can find many ways to listen to the program. Then there's, in Milwaukee, we've got the Big 920. You can listen on the iHeart app. You can listen on the different websites and such all throughout, whether it's listening to us on the Zone in Madison or WKTY in La Crosse, our friends in Eau Claire, PVL in Platteville, Menominee, Marinette, the entire network, the largest sports talk network in the state of Wisconsin, right here. You're listening to it right now. Love that stuff. 877-867-1670. All right. I started off the show by asking this question. I want to dive. It's like, strap on a goggle, strap on a snorkel. We're going to dive into this. Did we overestimate the talent on this team? Where did we go so wrong? That's what I want to know, because it wasn't supposed to be like this. Where did we go so wrong in our thought process that this team was not only a team that should have been, because when we went through the schedule at the beginning of the season, we picked them, I think, 13 wins. 13, 12, 13, 14 wins. I think when I went through it at one point, it was like 14 wins. Not going to lose at home. They've been very, very good at home. And on the road, a couple of losses. You look at a couple of tough teams, and I thought, okay, 13, 14 wins. Here we go again, running it back. Defense is better. Offense, short of Devontae Adams, should be clicking. They're going to run the ball. They're going to dish it around, all that kind of stuff. A lot of quick outs. Aaron Rodgers hitting guys all over the place. It was going to be this aerial circus where they were going to just open up the playbook. Why? Because they had to. It was no longer like look for a check down and then there's Devontae downfield. I mean, you got it all now, okay? Where in the hell did we go so wrong? Where did we make such an incredibly egregious mistake in our estimation of talent within this team? And now the dance begins. The dance is, will he or will he not? It all starts there, right? Wrong. This is what Marcus Spears on the show Get Up this morning on ESPN had to say about the return of Aaron Rodgers. Take a listen.
First of all, to the question, will Aaron Rodgers be back for the Packers next season? I'm going to answer the damn question like people sitting at home on their sofa going to answer. I do not care. Okay, I'm tired of it.
Really?
I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of trying to figure out what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. And Mike T said the most important thing, because I've been saying this and everybody give me the damn side eye when I say it. The bottom line is it took them forever to get on the same page with the wide receivers. So now we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers' greatness as opposed to talking about what actually happened this season. What happened this season was you didn't have rapport with your receivers because they were young and they were drafted and you didn't spend the offseason and the time getting better with them. So you had to use that time during the season. Well, that time caused you to be 4-8 and then get to the point where you needed to win the last game of the season to have success. The best wide receiver in the NFL left and went to another team. Why? Because you didn't know if you were going to come back and play quarterback. Well, the receivers on this team don't have that option because they were drafted and they're going to be there for a while. The second thing is this, and this is why I agree with Stephen A. And I'm not, listen, I have actually calmed down on Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers has been to the point this year. He talked about it. He led, in my opinion, when it was tough, and he was just talking about it, about we just got to win one game at a time. Early in the season, I criticized him because it was everybody else's fault. It was the receivers don't know the routes. We need to sit them down if they don't know nothing. They can't catch the football. We blamed everybody else. Okay, and we talked about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was solid, but this team wasn't winning because Aaron Rodgers was playing out of his mind. Yeah. The team was winning because Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon was running the ball successfully. We are going to continue to give Aaron Rodgers a pass because of what Aaron Rodgers has done in the past. Well, we ain't in the damn past. We just saw Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions go to Lambeau Field and win technically a playoff game for the Green Bay Packers when they had nothing to play for. This man went 2 of 6 in the fourth quarter, and we're going to sit here and talk about, is Aaron Rodgers going to be back next season? I don't give a damn if Aaron Rodgers comes back next season. I'm tired of talking about it. We need to talk about what we just saw. And the question about Aaron Rodgers, if he going to come back, the real question is, are you going to take some time this offseason and during minicamp and training camp to spend time with these young wide receivers that are very talented so y'all have a chance to go to the playoffs next year? That should be the damn question on the line instead of is he gonna come back?
Boom! Boom! Can I get an amen? That's a revival. Exactly what we said yesterday. That's exactly, I mean, he said it in 2 minutes what I took 2 segments to say. But if I'm Brian Gutekunst, I say, Aaron, you go enjoy the next 4 weeks. Take a month. Go enjoy yourself. We're going to start to evaluate the process. We're going to evaluate talent. We're going to do all of our college scouting. And you and I are going to pick a date. I will see you at February 28th, whatever. All right. How are we looking? And when that happens, I'm going to sit down with you and we're going to have a heart-to-heart. All right? So then he stops out to Aaron's house, or he meets Aaron on a beach or on a mountaintop or wherever the hell Aaron Rodgers goes. And he's sitting there and he says, he it's that, you're sitting at a table, you don't want to be sitting back with like your legs crossed, like you're, the Godfather. You lean forward, you got your elbows on your knees, and kind of look him in the eye and you say, Aaron, look, wasn't the season we wanted, wasn't the season you wanted, wasn't the season I wanted. I know that. You know that. We've done everything for you. I think I've proven myself that we have more of a commitment to you than ever. We kept, Randall Cobb, and he was productive. We kept Bach. He was productive. Even through all of that, we made sure that he was healthy. Big Dog. I know you love Big Dog. We kept Big Dog around. We wanted to make sure that you were comfortable with veterans around you. We didn't want to make the mistake that kind of happened with Favre, where Favre didn't know anybody in the locker room anymore. We wanted to make sure you were comfortable. We got guys around you. Okay? I need to know if you're coming back. Oh, I don't know. No, I need to know. Look at me. I need to know if you're coming back. And if you are, I'm paying you whatever the actual amount is, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, to be here. We're not talking about I'm paying you just enough for the season. I'm talking about we are paying you $50 million. No, it's not about the money. Well, if it's not about the money, sign this piece of paper right now that says you're going to take a pay cut so we can give some more money to some other guys to get them around you. Otherwise, you're just lying. So stop with that narrative. Stop with that garbage, okay? I am paying you $50 million or $30 million or whatever the hell it is to be here. You got to be here because you only have a year, maybe two left. Whatever you're contemplating, I don't know. But we want to run it back, and we want to make sure our legacies are all tied together. Your legacy doesn't end like this with 3 straight ugly losses at Lambeau Field. Mark Murphy goes out on a high. I go out on a high. Everybody goes out on a high. We want to make sure you get that opportunity for that second ring. Are you in? Because if you're hemming and hawing about it, what you want to do. Either you're playing or you're not, but if you're going to play and you're not all in and you don't want to come back for OTAs, you don't want to be here for minicamp, you don't want to be here and put your heart and soul and $50 million worth of your ass into this thing, then I'll trade you. Tell me where you want to go. But if you're in, I want you here. I want you to sit down and evaluate tape. I want you to be a part of the process. I want you to be involved with these guys. I want you to be the leader that we're expecting you to be. More so now than ever. You have to work harder the older you get. Ask anybody. You're not the same player. You're not the same guy. You got to look in the mirror and understand that. And then you sit back and you say, what's your answer? That's it. That's it. Unless, of course, Aaron looks up as smart can be, and he has that one eyebrow raised, and he goes, Joe Barry, really? Then Goody has to go back and go, Joe, you're gone. Talk to you later. But Marcus Spears is right. The last 3 games we've seen Aaron Rodgers walk off the field at Lambeau Field, it has been bad. And part of the performance, it's not all him. Don't get me wrong. Aaron Jones, he's put the ball on the carpet. Can't do it. Can't do it. Mercedes Lewis put the ball on the carpet. Defense didn't know where to be. I understand. But against Tampa Bay, fourth quarter, they needed you the most. You didn't run the ball in. You had it, but you tried to force it in where it didn't belong. You're 4 of 11, 54 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions against Tampa Bay in the fourth quarter when we needed you the most. Last year, San Francisco. Mercedes Lewis puts the ball on the carpet. The offensive line couldn't protect. You couldn't do anything, and you just focused on Devontae Adams. Even though Alan Lazard's such a great guy, but you couldn't throw to him when he's wide open. I can't understand that. You're 4 of 7, 17 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Fourth quarter against Detroit. We need you, man. Detroit's right there. You got to bring us back. You're that leader. You were 2 of 6 for 12 yards and an interception. Your combined numbers, 10 of 24, 83 yards. No touchdowns, 1 interception, and a quarterback rating of 33.9. Kyle Malzahn, by the way, give him credit for putting those numbers together. But all 3 games at home, all 3 games are losses. All 3 games were ugly. All 3 games kind of fell on your shoulders at the end. You're the leader. You're the man. You're the MVP. And you didn't do anything. Starts with you. Everything else trickles down. You're like the big rock in the pond, man. Once you jump into the pond, everything ripples out. That's what you need. So when Marcus Spears says, look at the numbers, those are the numbers. And that's why he says, I don't care if he comes back. He's not doing anything. He's living off of the past, man. It's like the clown in Go Back to Seinfeld. When George kept asking him if he knew Bozo the Clown, he's like, well, who cares, man? You're living in the 60s, man. Who cares? Same thing. You're living in the 2010, 2011 era of Aaron Rodgers. Come on, man. 877-867-1670. Ricky says, no way in hell I support this team anymore with Joe Barry coming back. Goodbye, Green Bay Packers. Drew says, I just heard at the top of the hour that they are not getting rid of Joe Barry. Are you effing kidding me? That effing guy couldn't defend a paper bag against rain.
Just learning about that too, Bill.
There you go. Thank you very much. Mark says over on Twitter, hitting us up, some thought Lazar was the number one receiver. Many said the D was going to light it up. Others says Jones is going to catch 90 passes, rush for 1,000 yards. Dillon with another 900. Most said 13 wins based on the thought of a bad division. Mark, I agree with you wholeheartedly. 100%, man. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. Our friends at Quick Trip reminding you, yeah, we don't have the run back promotion going on right now because there isn't any Packers. No opening drive contest. It's sad. Things came crashing down on Sunday. So what do? You pick up, you kind of, especially with the weather being what it is, go wash your car. Stop in a Quick Trip, wash your car. Get some gas, fill it up, wash your car, feel good again. Start to clean it all up. Little bread. Bread's on sale right now, too, by the way. I picked it up this morning. I think it was like 79 cents a loaf, something like that. Bread, milk, kind of pick up a couple of the staples, I'll tell you this, stop into that beer cave. A little home tailgate party coming up on Saturday and Sunday as you got some postseason football, even though we're not in it, right? Okay, that's fine. Plenty of reasons to go to Quick Trip because Quick Trip, regardless of a Packers season, Quick Trip is always there. Quick Trip will always make you smile. Quick Trip, they have the Quick Rewards number. So every now and then, they're going to give back to you. I've done that numerous times over the last couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, the other night when Mike Clemens and I stopped at Quick Trip at 2:30 in the morning coming back from Lambeau Field and I needed to fill up with gas, it said, hey, Bill, how would you like 15 cents off per gallon? Wing. Yes, that's our friends at Quick Trip. Love it. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. Your phone calls coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Hey, if you are looking for a getaway, which I think we all are, let's be honest. I know that we're going to be heading off to Arizona a couple of times. We got Super Bowl, spring training, and then after that, wouldn't mind getting away. Hey, our friends at Cruise Planners, your land and sea cruise experts, and that's land and sea, by the way. They got a lot going on. They have right now, if you want to give my buddy Kirk a call, and from anywhere, okay? So don't feel like if you're in Duluth, you can't use something here because they can set it up everywhere. As a matter of fact, he was telling me he's setting up, there's a family reunion going on a cruise, and he's got people from 6 different parts of the country that he's setting up all the cruise plans for and getting them to the ship, flights, the whole thing, and booking it and financing it. So if you're thinking about taking a cruise, if you're thinking about taking a trip, going to an all-inclusive, whatever it happens to be, get a hold of my buddy Kirk, 262-344-0697. 262-344-0697. They have Black Friday specials right now all the way through March. All the way through March. You can plan your trip now, put down a small deposit. You can take land tours, completely packaged vacations. They specialize in all types of travel. They've got a lot of good stuff. Go to 262-344-0697. Just check it out. Say, hey, we're thinking about, someplace warm. We're thinking about an all-inclusive. We're thinking about maybe a trip to Vegas, maybe a trip to Texas. Going to go down to the Panhandles. Going to go to Florida. Want to go to the Key. Whatever it happens to be, or a cruise or something out of the country. 262-344-0697. 262-344-0697. There you go. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Boy, shortstop Carlos Correa and the Minnesota Twins finalizing a 6-year, $200 million contract. The deal has a vesting option that can max up to $270 million pending the physical. But Carlos Correa now heading over to the Minnesota Twins for a 6-year, $200 million deal. that could possibly.
That's his
70.
third team he's signed with in 3 weeks.
Right? He's all over the joint. A lot of people want to throw money at him, no doubt. But now, well, we'll see if this pans out.
It's a pending physical, by the way.
Physical,
and the physical has been the thing that's
nobody's
ruined the other
it
two contracts.
Nobody's clearing him. So there you go. So
how many more teams does he have to fail a physical with before the Brewers sign him?
Oh, right.
20.
And then you don't even send him to a doctor. You're just like, okay,
You're good.
We're gonna send you over, guy down at Dairy Queen, right there in West Dallas on the corner, Highway 100.
Can you fight off the intruder when he comes to steal Craig Counsell's shaving kit?
Right. Hey, you're not going to be the drunk guy in the bushes, are you? No. Okay. Here's $100 million. Wait. We're kidding. 100 million. Come on. Here's $7 million. Take it or leave it because you're going to fail the physical anyway. $7 million if you take it, no physical. If you take the physical, we're going to offer you $100 million because you're going to fail it and you're not playing here. Oh, okay. I'll take the $7 million. Cool. All right. Talk to you later. There you go. So anyway, there's some breaking baseball news. That's your hot stove version of the program today, folks. How are we looking?
Oh, I think the Brewers traded for a minor league pitcher on Saturday. Something. I don't know.
I felt my pants get snug.
Yeah, I saw it. I went back to sleep.
That. Yeah. Can you imagine like right now doing, my buddy Tim Allen, who is a Brewers fanatic and did the Brewers postgame show for a long, long time when I worked with him at another station. And so he wakes up for Brewers, Tim. And I can see him waking up today going, to talk about, and it's just like, welcome to the Hot Stove Show. Nothing to report. Brought to you by Air. Back to you in the studio. That's it. There's nothing going on. Just crickets. So the Bucks have been playing some pretty bad basketball. And there's an eyebrow raised now about concern there. You've had good basketball between Marquette and Wisconsin, both teams playing pretty well, which we got to get Shaka Smart on the program. We got to try to get Greg Gard on the program. Got to get Luke Fickell on the program. But there's not a lot of Brewers news. Packers news, that just ended. So in the state, we're kind of searching a little bit. We're kind of, putting out the feelers for things that might be good right now. Let's go to Tom listening to us in Brookfield. Tom, how you doing today, man? What's going on? What's happening?
Doing well, guys. Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment on Aaron Rodgers. It encompasses the last 3 years. I think Packer Nation is in complete fatigue with everything having to do with Rodgers. When he was winning MVPs, that was one thing, but now his endless fascination with himself, he's just worn us out. We're tired. And I'm personally ready to move on. And I'm one who has said he's the best I've ever seen on the field, but just too much baggage, and Packer Nation is weary of him, I think.
I think Packer Nation is worn out from two quarterbacks that do the will I or will I not, and you go through it year after year. I agree with you. I think he still gives you a good chance to win football games. I think we want to believe that the Rodgers that played so incredibly well during the regular season, the 2 seasons prior, is still there. I get the sense that maybe it's either not or it's starting to fall off the table rather quickly. Nobody ever wants to leave the game on a really down note. You just, I don't know. I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers waxed nostalgic about his career at the podium the other night. He talked about how proud he is of many things that he's accomplished and such. And he did. I mean, he has a right to be. He's been, let's be honest. I mean, for people that want to defend him or defend, Brett Favre and such, and Favre was the best quarterback ever. No, he wasn't. He really wasn't. Favre was an incredibly good quarterback, and Favre is remembered because he's the guy that brought the title back to Titletown. And what a lot of Favre lovers tend to forget is you don't win it without Reggie White. The same, because they want to point at Aaron Rodgers saying, well, he did it with a defense. Well, so did Favre. So did Favre. They beat the Patriots because Reggie White got pissed and took over that ball game. Don't ever forget that. And because Andre Rison ran one back. Or Desmond Howard, I should say. Desmond Howard. So don't ever sit there and act like, Favre's the only reason that things began. That was an incredible defense that they had put together. Mike Holmgren had it going. He had control of Favre. I mean, everything was just, and they should have won 2 in a row. But you listen to Leroy Butler, he'll tell you, they just thought they were going to roll the helmets out there and win. And they got punched in the face and just really never recovered from it. So, if for as good as Favre was, Favre doesn't win it without the defense, period. Rodgers doesn't win it without Woodson. He doesn't win it without Clay. He doesn't win it without, Nick Collins. So they win it with defense. They win it together. Rodgers has nothing to be ashamed of. But the end of this is just, Favre ended with an interception in an NFC championship game. Rodgers has lost 3 straight games at home, smoked at home in playoffs. Well, I know the Detroit Lions technically wasn't a playoff game, but it was because you win and you continue on, you lose and you go home. And they got beat and looked bad doing it. And there's a part of me that says Aaron's just tired. He's looking around going, everybody's younger than me. I'm watching guys even like Goff and Hurts and Mahomes and Burrow and Justin Fields. These guys are running around. The game's changing. And I'm older. I'm an old dude compared to everybody else. But on the other hand, he's probably going, this is not the way I want my career in Green Bay to end. This is not what I want. And if that's why I said, if I'm Brian Gutekunst, I go out there, I talk to him, and I say, you got to be all in. You got to work harder the older you get to compete with the younger model. You just do. You can't be off on mountaintops and beaches and relaxing and playing guitars and running through waterfalls in Hawaii while everybody else is working their ass off. You can't do it. You have to be the committed one. So we'll see. But there's nothing for Aaron Rodgers to be ashamed of. He has had an incredible career. He's won the, MVPs. He's obviously played incredible football. And there were times when he lost NFC championship games, but they got there because of him, because they had no business being in them to begin with had it not been for Aaron Rodgers. So he has that to be proud of. He can lean on that, and rightfully so. I won't ever knock him for that. He's fantastic. It's been a privilege to watch him play. And God knows he's made me look smart. So I can't complain at all about Aaron Rodgers, except for the fact that the way this has gone down over the last few years, it reeks. It smells of selfishness and arrogance. And it has to. He didn't want to go out like this when he saw Favre do this. He can't do this. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. When we come back, Bruce, you're in Madison. We'll talk to you coming out of the chute. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. Looking for a good time out, looking for a good hockey game, looking for a good fight, looking for some good promotions, looking for some good concerts after the game. That's our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. And I guarantee you, you're going to enjoy your night there at the good old hockey game.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
My buddy Dwayne, and Dwayne's covered all. He sent me a text. He said, "Hey, this is how I get over the Packers," and he sent me a picture, and it's a picture of the show. Actually airing. He's got it on, I guess, YouTube in his workshop. And by the way, he is the best when it comes to boat covers, upholstery covers, awnings for businesses, refurbishing office furniture, furniture in your home, furniture in your office, whatever it happens to be. I mean, he's fantastic. So I told him, I said, and he's got it on in his business right now. I said, technically, if I stand up and I'm not wearing pants, does that mean in your office for people that are standing there and customers that are standing there, that they'll go, "Oh my God, you're sitting there watching porn." I just thought it was funny. It's just goofy, silly. But my buddy Dwayne, he's fantastic. Oh my God. I know, the stream of constant Chinese porn is amazing. Call him 715. He's not paying for this commercial, by the way. 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. Go to Dwayne's, DUANES, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That's Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. You can see this stuff and all that he does right there. 877-867-1670. All right, let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to our buddy. Bruce in Madison. Bruce, how you doing today, pal? What's up?
Good morning, Bill. Thanks for having me on the show. Can you hear me okay?
I got you.
All right, great. That's pretty funny. Back, and now they go back to talking about maybe tape measures and rulers, and you might be on something about what you're really watching on that show. Say I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the game. A friend of mine, their family has season tickets, so we were sitting there watching, and I think you maybe recall me saying that I wanted the Packers to trade Rodgers this year. The fact that the Packers have only themselves to blame for the situation that they're in right now. They have so many problems, and it starts with really bad quarterback play. I agree with so many of your points. Looking and just saying, when are they going to run the ball up the middle? Mm-hmm. You got a team that's giving up 6 yards a carry, and you're running jet sweeps, and you're not even playing to the strength and to their weakness. You have Aaron Rodgers trying to throw deep right away. You're keeping that defense on the field, who was really doing an outstanding job. You go for it on 4th and 1, and you're in on the 35-yard line. That just made the play calling.
Right
now, is that Rodgers? Is that LaFleur? Is it a combination of? But there was just no consistency to their attack other than how inconsistent they were. Rodgers really should be this guy that should be making these receivers look good by running short routes and taking advantage of their strength. You got a Christian Watson who yes, he was injured early in the year, but you did nothing to build the guy's confidence up early on the first game when he dropped the ball. You had him deep. You should have gone back and done the same thing again. Now you should use his strengths. He's a guy that's going to become after the yards after catch guy. He's going to be so tremendous in this league. But Aaron Rodgers has done nothing to help these young guys out and to show any leadership skills. It's all about Aaron Rodgers. Defense-wise, Joe Barry's got to go. He has these guys. He does not have the discipline instilled in these guys. And I really question Matt LaFleur after listening to his latest comments saying that he doesn't expect any of the coaching staff to be gone next year. So,
right. That I couldn't believe. Again, I understand you want to try to keep continuity in many different phases. That means, the other aspect of that is that means Tom Clements is coming back. So you would assume that if Rodgers isn't coming back, Tom Clements isn't coming back. You'd immediately probably pick
that
up.
Won't break my heart.
But I found that rather interesting that he said, I don't expect any changes. Well, then again, maybe expecting might be the word to all of this. But I thought, boy, that's a little presumptuous. Tom Clements is coming back regardless of what Aaron Rodgers does, which I thought was interesting. So, I don't know. I think, again, I think there's a lot of things that we overestimate, and appreciate the phone calls always, Bruce. Thanks for bringing up some good points. But I think there's a lot of things that we overestimated. I think we overestimated the depth of the defense, first of all. I think we overestimated the impact of the rookies and Devontae Wyatt and Quay Walker. They came in, look, they performed really well. And Quay Walker, man, if he ever figures out how to kind of get off of offensive linemen, and this is an off season now, and I've explained this before for what guys go through. Like right now, the guys at Georgia just get out of the national title game, right? These guys get maybe a week or two. They get flown. The guys are going to go to the NFL draft. They're flown to wherever they're going to go to start working out, because what they're going to do is they're going to start honing their skills strictly for the combine and their pro day. And they're working for nothing but the combine and the pro day. So between now and the end of February, they've got to work their asses off to get ready for speed, agility, quickness, measurements, all that kind of stuff for the pro day and for the combine. And then after the combine, then you have your pro day. And then after your pro day, you have the draft. And right after the draft, then you go into the system and you start learning and studying and getting to the rookie camps and the OTAs and the mini camps. And the whole time you're living in a new city and you're trying to get acclimated and you're trying to get yourself all together when it comes to finding a place to live, bringing your furniture, bringing your girlfriend, bringing your friends, whatever it happens to be, trying to concentrate on the task at hand. And then you get into the training camp, and then you get into the season. You don't have time to breathe. For the first time in the last few years, Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt and company, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Samari Torrey, everybody, they're going to have a chance to breathe. Go away. Your season's over. You're going to have your exit interview with your coaches, and then you're free. And the thing that they're going to tell them is, this is what you want to work on. We're going to give you a list. We're going to give you things to take with you so you can be in constant communication with our strength and conditioning staff. And we want you to do this. But go away, go relax, take some time off, go see family. Just get away, and you get some time. You're a veteran now. You're in the NFL. So for the first time in a long time, these guys get a chance to just go relax. And that's why you hope that Devontae Wyatt and Quay Walker, Christian Watson, they all go away, and then they start to work on their bodies. And that's where you start to see the development in year number 2 and year number 3 of these guys starting to take that jump. So we overestimated the impact of the rookies on both sides of the football. And I kind of got the sense that it was going to take a while with Aaron Rodgers and how, they got on the same page, and they're still not when it comes to the wide receivers. But it's just, there's just so many layers to the onion there. That's why we overestimate it. And then we kind of figured, on paper, it looked really good, but the minute you lose Stokes, the minute you lose Rashawn Gary, Devondre Campbell went down for a while. You had numerous injuries, lost Dean Lowry, and things started to change, So we'll see what it all kind of, filters down to, so to speak. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers have exit meetings and are packing their belongings after a season-ending loss to the Lions on Sunday Night Football. I asked Matt LaFleur on what's the importance of these one-on-one meetings over the next several days.
Kind of sets the path for us over the course of the offseason. Get a chance to have a lot of great conversations with players, coaches, really everybody involved in our whole football operation, and look at everything that we do and how can we do it better.
And Christian Watson met with reporters one last time before clearing out his locker. The rookie receiver was asked what he hopes to work on during the offseason.
There's a couple things, that I can work on going forwards. But I mean, I'm just trying to improve it in all aspects. And I'm sure there's a couple, one or two things that I'll focus on heavily. But I mean, this game is, different at this level for sure. And, to get to the point that I want to get to in my career, I'm just going to have to keep on growing.
That's Packers wide receiver Christian Watson. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
Right there off of Johnson Creek exit, just north of 94, you can actually see the sign from the highway that says Goodyear. That's J&L Tire. And if you are cruising along and you need an oil change, you're in the minivan, go get it. If you're an over-the-road driver and you've got a semi and you're like, man, the air brakes are acting up, go get them fixed. Either way, they can handle everything. Good people over there. Check out jnltire.com, jnltire.com. They have a location right there off the highway on 94 in Johnson Creek and up in Watertown as well. Good
stuff from our friends at J&L Tire. Go to jnltire.com. That's jnltire.com. Good stuff from them, one of our proud sponsors. Thank you. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. I got Brad Spielberger, a Pro Football Focus, coming up here after the top of the hour. Let's go to our buddy Steve, listening to us in Eau Claire. Steve, welcome to the program, man. What's on your mind?
Hello, long-time listener, first-time caller. Before I talk about the Packers, can I ask a favor?
Sure, yes.
Not for me, but for all your listeners in Northwest Wisconsin. When you find out the date of the celebrity golf tournament that you attend in Rice Lake, and we know you're the biggest celebrity there that day. Could you let us know? I have missed that tournament the last 3 years because I find out about it about 3 days before the tournament.
Okay, I will let you know for sure. For sure, I will let you know. The Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Tournament. Give it a shout out, and absolutely. So I'll see. I'll even check now while we're talking to see if the 2023 information is up, and it's not. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Great.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And that's the 2023 Rice Lake Golf Tournament with Bill Michaels. Okay.
Go ahead.
All I want is a all-in Aaron Rodgers. I want him to be at minicamp. I want him to be at OTAs. I want him to be at rookie camp. I want him to be in the parking lot walking through routes with his receivers. That's what I want this year.
So, in other words, you want him back, but you want him back and you want him all in. You want him doing anything and everything he can to make this team better for at least one more run, right?
Yeah, if he's got to pump up the balls, I mean everything.
Okay. I'm all in on that, man. I think all of us are all in on that. I would 100% agree. No doubt about it. Anything else?
Go Brewers.
All right, buddy. There you go. Talk to you later. He drops off. 877.
Aaron likes his balls very.
If just texted our buddy Tom Kozer, who has our Rice Lake affiliate, WJMC, the mighty 1240 in Rice Lake. And I said, what is the date? The Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing. They have not updated their webpage from 2022. So we need to know. We need to know. We need to let everybody in northern Wisconsin know. By the way, I am not the biggest celebrity there. They have a lot of cool guys that come to that tournament every year. A lot of former Packers, Brewers, Lynn Dickey, Johnny Gray, our buddy Johnny Gray, Paul Kaufman is there. Kenny Sanders, the Bulldog, former Milwaukee Brewer. You've got just so many guys that are there. I can go through the whole list, but it's Ezra Johnson is one of them that's been there year after year after year. So many guys that have played in that tournament, and Larry the Cable Guy has been there numerous times. So we hope that Larry's back again this year. But we shall see. Hopefully he gets back to me here relatively soon. 877-867-1670. Don't forget our buddy Brad Spielberger, Pro Football Focus, coming up after the top of the hour. Paul in the Heights says, you are 100% correct. It's not just Aaron Rodgers. It's the defense as well. Aaron Rodgers has let us down in the last couple of years. But look at all the years that Rodgers took us to an NFC championship game only to be let down by the defense. It was always something with his organization that was neglected. This year, it was the wideout position. Last year, it was the defense. I'm not going to say it was the defense last year. I won't go there. I wouldn't do that because the defense played pretty well last year. And last year, remember in the postseason, it wasn't the defense that let us down. It was the special teams. If you would have said special teams, I'd say right on. Speaking of special teams, he also says, why is nobody holding Matt LaFleur accountable for running Amari Rodgers out there for 3/4 of the season? What up with that? 100% agree. 100% agree. Brent Spielberger coming up, Pro Football Focus. Going to chat with him about the rest of the NFL. We got playoffs coming up this weekend, all kind of good stuff. Going to get into that discussion and also the rather untimely demise of the one and only Green Bay Packers. Jeff says, by the way, over in the Bud Light live stream, I think we should storm 1265 and demand that I become the GM. Love the takes. Could not agree more with all of what I've stated. I've often thought that at least I could be a motivational speaker behind the walls at 1265, but 1265 is run as an upscale nouveau riche cult. And I'm not that guy. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
our friends over at Numel Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state, well beyond the borders. One phone number to call, whether it's ED, whether it's low T, if you're looking for energy, looking for lose a little bit of weight, getting into the new year, a new you. There you have it. That's our good friends over there at Numel Medical. Numel Medical. Get a hold of them over there, and maybe they can help you out. Like I said, new year, new you. Bring in our buddy now, Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus at PFF_Brad, joining us on the line. And Brad, first of all, we are somewhat mourning the end of the football season for the Green Bay Packers, so please bear with us because things are a little testy here in the state of Wisconsin and Packer Nation, but we do have others to talk about. And one of those things is fulfilling some of the needs for the Green Bay Packers if and when Aaron Rodgers should make the decision to come back. You put out the top 50 free agents that are going to be out on the market, or at least appear to be out on the market. Give me a thought on wide receivers to fill as a veteran role for the Packers and the growth of Christian Watson and obviously Romeo Doubs and Samori Toure. Is there going to be one or two wide receivers out there that could be attainable for the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Unfortunately, it's not a great free agent class. I think you see now in today's NFL, if a team has a player they like at wide receiver, they're going to extend that guy before he even reaches free agency. But I think a guy like a Jacoby Myers, current New England Patriots player who plays about 50% of the slot, 50% outside. He's a willing run blocker. He's very, very sure-handed. Actually, our highest contested catch rate player in the NFL over the last 2 years. So, a good player, not a great player, but like you said, a decent value, a good veteran presence to bring in, have Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, kind of operating on the outside, let him go to work in the slot, fill that Allen Lazard role to a degree. I think he'd be an interesting target for Green Bay.
What do you think a salary demand would be for somebody like Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, so I would say probably like 12 to 15 million range. I know it's a bit of a wide range. I say that just because it really is bleak, in free agency. Our second receiver on the board is Juju Smith-Schuster, who is a good player, but has had injury concerns for the last couple of years now. Signed a 1 year, $3.5 million base value deal this past year with a bunch of incentives. He did actually earn about $3 million of those incentives. So, cashed in on that extra additional money, but it's just such a weak class that I think Myers is worth about, let's say, 12, 13 million. But hey, we saw with Christian Kirk and other guys last year, if you have a bunch of bidders and everyone wants the guy, maybe he pushes in that 15 million per year range. But an undrafted guy, a guy who ran like a 4.6, 840 at the combine, which probably caused him to go undrafted. He's a good player, not a great player. And so I don't think it's going to get too out of control for his market.
I know that the possibility of losing Adrian Amos for the Green Bay Packers is relatively real unless there's some kind of a deal that's struck, and he's been a pretty good center fielder for this team. A kind of on a wish list, a guy like Jesse Bates coming out of Cincinnati, it looks like he might be an unrestricted free agent. As your article says, they put a franchise tag on him, but he's going to demand some good money coming out into free agency as well, isn't he?
He sure will. And I would put the odds him of actually reaching free agents this time, close to 100%. I really don't think the Bengals are going to franchise tag him again. They just, honestly made him an insulting offer last year. After tagging him, it was pretty much the same offer they actually made him the prior offseason, and just didn't really bump that value up. So I think he'll get out of there. I think he'll be in probably the kind of Marcus Williams last offseason got 5 years, $70 million for about $14 million per year. I'm sure he's going to try to push higher and copy some of these recent safeties getting into the 18, 19 per year range. But I think he'll come closer to maybe 15, 16, which is certainly a pretty penny at safety. But he's a really good player, really scheme diverse, can do a lot of different things, a nasty run defender and a good center fielder, as you mentioned. He's a good all-around player.
He's not George Kittle, but Dalton Schultz coming out of Dallas. He was kind of PO'd that he didn't get the contract extension he wanted. He's a pass catcher. He's a touchdown guy. He's a good red zone guy. This is a guy that I would say, if I'm going to be the Packers and Mercedes Lewis is on his way out, this is a guy that this is another area that they definitely have to circle and say we have to upgrade. I think Dalton Schultz will be an upgrade.
I totally agree. And I know they've been going after tight ends. It's no secret their interest in Darren Waller, over the past, year plus at this point and trying to address that position, like you said, to get ready for the future without Mercedes Lewis, maybe without a Robert Tonyan, or to play alongside Robert Tonyan. I think Schultz is the best fit. People throw out guys like Gesicki. You're not going to see a Mike Gesicki in the Green Bay Packers offense. I mean, you just saw him in a similar offense, and Miami barely played him. So, Schultz is a good run blocker, like you said, more kind of a zone beater, but he's a good red zone target. He's not going to be, Travis Kelce and separating his man coverage, but a really reliable player, a really consistent player, and frankly kind of strikes me as, a classic Green Bay Packer. Just a steady guy. You know what you're going to get every week. And I think he'll go for 12, 13, maybe 14 million per year.
Talking with Brad Spielberger, Pro Football Focus at PFF.com is where you can read a lot of this stuff and find the articles. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the matchups this coming weekend. Obviously, the big one that everybody's kind of circled is the fact that on Monday night, you've got the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dallas was awful. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. They were just flat out terrible in that game the other day. And some will say, well, they were kind of conserving their energy for this upcoming game. But I don't know how to pick this game. I know Dallas comes in at 2.5-point favorites, but and there's the whole thought that this could be Brady's last game and such, and it's Dallas Cowboys, so they have to put it on Monday night because of all the eyes and America's team and all that crap. But how do you handicap this thing? Because it's two basically, the Jekyll and Hyde of Dak Prescott, who's now throwing picks like they're Pez dispensers, versus a bad Buccaneers team. How do you handicap this thing?
Yeah, it is weird. You mentioned, Dallas, they kind of did play a lot of their starters, though, right? They probably wanted to make the excuse they weren't trying, but they really were. And not only was Dak awful, 14 of 37 for 128 yards and a pick, but their run game had 26 carries for 64 yards, like 2.4 yards per carry. So they couldn't do anything. Look, I'm sure they'll have a better effort, coming in. Obviously, a big rematch from week one in this game. And the handicap for me is, couple notes here. So first, if Buccaneers center Ryan Jensen can make his way back for this game, it would provide such a massive boost for Tampa. Their run game has been maybe the worst in the entire NFL, and the big reason is because he's been out for the year. He just brings this nastiness and edge. He sets the tone in the run game for them. Obviously got hurt right before the season began. So he's kind of a guy to keep an eye on to maybe come back at some point. And then also, one thing working in Tampa's favor is Tom Brady has the fastest average time to throw in the NFL, about 2.3 seconds. And so if you want to mitigate this ferocious pass rush and make Micah Parsons less effective and DeMarcus Lawrence and all these guys, the best way to do it is to just not even let them get to you in the first place and get the ball out super quickly. So that's the MO. It is a good matchup for Tampa. Tom Brady's never lost to the Cowboys, and obviously they've beaten them now 2 years in a row in week one. Obviously it's an eternity ago, but I lean Tampa in this game, even though I agree with what you said. They are really good. They're not a good football team, but I kind of do just see them pulling one out here again.
The other game that I find interesting is you've got Buffalo. Now, they barely beat the Dolphins in Buffalo. That was a 32-29 game. They got beat by the Dolphins down in Miami early on in the season. But can the Dolphins beat Buffalo in Buffalo without Tua?
I really don't think so. And it does look like it is going to be Teddy Bridgewater. Based on the 10.5-point spread and just kind of the things you're hearing coming out of Miami. I even tried to kind of gauge, just ask a couple people around the league if they'd heard anything, and it was no one had a clue. Like, no one has any idea where Miami stands, and not from the, the classic trickeration and playing mind game standpoint, more from the, really genuinely they just do not know. And so, no, I don't. I don't think you can keep up scoring with this Buffalo Bills offense without him. The Dolphins had a couple injuries in the secondary recently. Xavier Howard did come back for the last game of the season, but I don't think he's 100% healthy, and you want a guy like him to be at full go against Stephon Diggs. Obviously, Buffalo is as motivated as any team, in a very long time for a number of different reasons. I think that one could get ugly.
You got the Giants visiting Minnesota, and again, this is a game in which I think Minnesota, with the offensive weaponry they have, they could kill the Giants. They could beat them 42-7, but football to at times a football team, and at times the Vikings, they either win a one-score game or they get the hell blown out of the building. So I don't know what to make of this game coming to this contest.
Yeah, I think it's the most, well, I guess Bengals-Ravens, but a very recent, rematch where these teams played a couple weeks ago, and it was 26-24. I want to say Minnesota. The Giants were 3.5-point underdogs in that game, and they obviously covered that spread. So it comes out this week at 3. I thought it'd get down to 2.5. I think it's back to 3. The big thing for me here, though, is Brian O'Neill, the Vikings right tackle, probably a top 5 right tackle in the NFL, is not going to play in this game. And I think it's a massive, massive deal because Kayvon Thibodeau is starting to look like the guy we thought he was going to be. Had a little bit slow start of the season, was injured in training camp, and so it does happen to guys. But over the last 6 weeks or so, he's starting to take over games a bit, take over series, and cause a lot of problems. And then also, Kirk Cousins against interior pressure, that's his kryptonite. It's not just about edge guys, but on the interior. And Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams might be the best interior duo or one of the best interior duos in the entire NFL. So I agree. It could be, Justin Jefferson could just come back and be great and be motivated. But you get a Dory Jackson back for the Giants, their number one corner, who's a really good player. I'll tell you, this one's on heavy upset alert for me.
You mentioned the Ravens and the Bengals, obviously coming up on Sunday night. That's the Sunday night contest. And Lamar Jackson, nobody knows. Nobody knows if he's playing, if he's not playing, if he's upset, if he's not upset. We haven't seen him. We haven't heard from him. His coach is now professing his love for him. We assume he's going to play in this game. I don't know what to make of it, but Cincinnati obviously favored 6.5 in this one. And Joe Burrow in that offense, man, there's a couple of up-and-coming quarterbacks that have already established himself, like Josh Allen, like Patrick Mahomes and such. Joe Burrow's right there with these guys. And as a matter of fact, Joe Burrow has beaten them. So my assumption is I'm leaning towards Cincinnati in this one, but I think Lamar Jackson is kind of the X factor if his legs are under him.
Yeah, you mentioned the up-and-comers. Patrick Mahomes is the oldest quarterback in the AFC playoff picture. How crazy is that?
Wow.
But yeah, yeah. So, with Lamar, like you said, it's so hard to gauge. And even if he is back, hasn't played a snap in, I want to say, 5 weeks now. It was a PCL injury to his knee. So, if Tom Brady had a knee injury versus, Lamar Jackson, very different things. He obviously needs to be mobile. I'm concerned about this one. The Ravens do have one of the best interior offensive lines in the NFL, but DJ Reader has been taking over football games for Cincinnati. Trey Hendrickson in the matchup this past week played 20 snaps, had 2 sacks and 4 other pressures against Ronnie Stanley, obviously protecting Anthony Brown, a little bit different than protecting Lamar Jackson. But I just think this is a really, really bad matchup for the Ravens, even with Lamar, because the one weakness for Cincy is probably their outside cornerback play. They've had some injuries there. And the Ravens have the worst wide receiver group in the NFL. So, Lamar can always change a game, can always break off a couple big runs. Their defense is good in Baltimore, getting healthy. I think Marcus Peters will be back for this game for them, but I think Cincy wins this one, maybe by a couple scores.
And Cincinnati, don't forget, they've got obviously issues on the offensive line. Another offensive lineman went down, so Lyle Collins went down a couple of weeks ago, and they've got more injuries now, so they're hurting up front, no doubt. Then you got the Saturday games, obviously, Seattle on the road taking on the 49ers. I don't see Seattle having really much of a shot in this one. And for whatever reason, Brock Purdy brings some kind of energy that I haven't seen in a long time, short of maybe Tom Brady taking over as a 7th-round draft pick and a rookie going, oh, yeah, by the way, we can win a championship.
I know. It really is incredible. 5 straight starts with 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions, first quarterback to ever do it. And he looks confident, right? Yes, Kyle Shanahan is clearly, a phenomenal coach and puts his players in position to succeed. But it's not like Brock Purdy is just, checking it down and getting these, miraculous yards after the catch. Of course, there's some of that in San Francisco. That is their bread and butter. But, yeah, I'm with you. The thing here for me is the Seattle Seahawks are 25th in EPA per rush allowed. So a very bad run defense. And that's with Jordan Brooks, their former first-round pick off-ball linebacker who played the whole season, but now got hurt and will not play in this game. I think San Fran could run for like 300 yards in this game. I think it's going to be a blowout.
And then last but not least, the other one on the docket, you got the Chargers and the Jaguars. I think America's kind of like, if I have to pick a team, I'm kind of pushing for the Jaguars. I'd love to see Doug Peterson get another one. I'd love to see the Jaguars finally kind of be on the rise and be relevant. The Chargers, on the other hand, they're a team that was up and down. Every time I start to pick the Chargers, they let me down. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, no, definitely 2 fun, exciting teams with, lots to root for. So obviously, they played all the way back in week 3 was a blowout by the Jaguars in Los Angeles. But that was when, Herbert had the ribs injury and they also had a bunch of other injuries around the roster. You get Joey Bosa back for this game, and the Jaguars are without their left tackle, Cam Robinson, so they do have a great fill-in in Walker Little, a former second-round pick who's been great the last couple games. But I think the Chargers are going to get this one done. I just think the thing here for me is the Jaguars actually have a great run defense, top 10 in EPA per rush. They look great against Derrick Henry. Almost every first-down run, it was like 1 or 2 yards at best. They really did well. The Chargers don't run the ball, though, right? They basically use Austin Eckler, screens and quick outs to him is kind of their run game. And I just think if they can be healthy on the defensive line now with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, if they get a lead in any playoff game and you get Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa pinning their ears back and just getting after the quarterback, trying to protect the lead against a team that's throwing. I mean, good luck to those teams.
Always good to talk to you, Brad. I appreciate it. Thanks for the breakdown on everything, because regardless, I think the Packers, whether Aaron Rodgers comes back or Jordan Love's there, I still think they're going to need another veteran wideout to kind of help these guys along. So it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Green Bay Packers regardless. Appreciate it, pal.
Thank you. Thanks
so much. There you go. Brad Spielberger joining us for a couple of minutes from Pro Football Focus at PFF_Brad, at PFF_Brad. You can catch his stuff there. Thanks to him for hanging out with us for a short period of time. Speaking of hanging out with us, a company's been with us a while now called Pindel, Pindel. Good people, great place to work. And not only is it a great place to work, but during the pandemic, they actually they had the growth. When a lot of companies were shutting down, they were growing because of the need for quality machine parts, because while we were sitting at home, we were ordering a ton of stuff. And they were machining all kinds of parts. So if you're a company looking for a quality company to work with here in the state of Wisconsin, go for it. Go get them. And if you're looking for a career, not a job, but a career, that's our friends at Pindel. Go to Pindel.com, Pindel.com, Pindel.com. That is Pindel.com. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right up.
Get ready to ride the wave of adventure with groundbreaking new ships and one ultra-chic resort. For the ultimate family vacation experience, introducing Royal Caribbean's Icon class of ships, featuring thrills you never dared to imagine and a next-level chill you never dreamed possible. Or get more space, more luxury, and more connected to the sea on Celebrity Beyond. Explore Norwegian's new Prima class, designed to elevate every expectation. Or fall in love all over again at the newly reimagined Sandals Dunn's River. This is a vacation designed for you. Call your advisor today to ask about special offers and amenities. Cruise Planners, your cruise and vacation experts since 1994.
Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. You know, the other day, it did my heart really good. There's some good people that sponsor the program, and one of them are Jeff and Alicia Stoll, and Stoley's Hog Alley, I told you, had been renovated. And the best part about it was that it not only did it get renovated, it's beautiful. It's stunning what they did to it, and they added so much space, and they added a second level and all that kind of stuff. But we went out there. We thought, we'll stop out on Saturday night and go, and I want to support them, and I want to go to dinner there. Got there, couldn't get into the place. And that's not a bad thing. Couldn't get into the place. It was beyond, it was like an hour and a half wait just to get in. Couldn't get into the place. So on one hand, I was disappointed because I didn't get a chance to go in and eat and have a beer and all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, it was like, good for them. They've waited so long to get that thing done and get it back open. Just so awesome. So anyway, I was glad to see that they have bounced back and reopened, and it's so good. So if you're out and about, get there early, but head out to our friends at Stoley's Hog Alley in Summit, Oconomowoc, or hit Stoll's Old 109. You can continue to support them in that way too. Stoll's Old 109 up in Watertown, which is a fantastic place with really good food as well. Either place, just absolutely awesome. 877-867-1670. By the way, for those that were wondering, the Rice Lake, Tom Kozer, our guy Tom, who is the magnanimous owner up there of the radio station that we are proudly on, I texted him and he said, we are going to be up there June 14th and 15th is the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing. June 14th and 15th. The 14th is the day we're going to be doing the show from the club. That night at Tom's place is the sports or the sponsor dinner with all the celebrities and everything. And then the 15th is the tournament. So June 14th and 15th, the Rice Lake Celebrity Golf Outing will take place. And it'll be at Turtleback, which is a beautiful facility up there in Rice Lake. June 14th and 15th. Put it on your calendar. Mark it down. Get your spots now. All that kind of good stuff. Get a hold of Tom. I know the website's not updated. Somebody up there has to get it updated. But you bet. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get to the phone calls. Let's go to our buddy Tony listening to us in Sussex. Tony, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
How you doing, Bill?
Doing great, pal. Doing great.
I just got out of a chiropractor appointment, and I heard your read on Aaron Rodgers. That was beautiful. So I'm very adamant about if they keep Joe Barry, he better get rid of this passive defense we have, especially this zone, and get those quarterbacks in people's faces right off the line. And I still want to know why they didn't do that on that last play against Detroit. They should have jammed them right on the line like they did many times in Minnesota, and you saw what result that was.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see or risk, I should say, a cornerback, Alexander, someone getting beat. I mean, half the time when they throw these long bombs, not too many times. I wonder what the percentage is that they're even completed, and I'd rather take that chance of you jamming someone and then they're getting by you like that. You totally would, they could totally ruin the timing, throw the timing off. If they would have jammed them at the line, maybe they wouldn't have completed that pass. He wouldn't have nowhere to go. I mean, they should be in the faces of these receivers, their top three receivers, whatever. He doesn't play an aggressive defense. I think we had the players to get in the playoffs, definitely on defense, and maybe go and give San Francisco, a hard time because, or whoever we would have played, just because of how you play that defense. We have the talent. It wasn't used properly. Just passive, let them chip away at you, get all these yards up the middle where you could drive a Mack truck through, and then they're in field goal range, and then you're trying to hold them for a touchdown, and that's what went on all season. We got chopped up like that, and I can't believe if LaFleur decides that he wants to keep Joe Barry, they got to change. He's got to totally change his philosophy on how he coaches the defense. That's gone by the wayside as far as I'm concerned now. I miss the days where like Lester Hayes and I forget who the other cornerback was for the old Oakland Raiders, man. They'd be in your face every play.
Right.
And that's what the Packers, because what they really miss too in that middle, I believe, and that they really miss a Darius Smith on defense. I think this year.
Yeah.
And it was a whole new wrinkle, and we got some Clay Walker, some really good aggressive players. But for the type of defense we have, and I believe our linebackers and our linemen, they play aggressively, but when you got guys playing so soft, I mean, for what? Well, I think you get more sacks that way. I mean, instead of him just sitting back there, it's just, I don't, because you're waiting for if the blocking scheme is good and they can't get to the quarterback so well, you jam the receivers, that's going to break down right away too.
Yeah, I thought that the aggressiveness they showed against Minnesota paid off, and I don't know why we didn't see more of that this season. I appreciate the phone call, Tony. Thanks for taking a listen to us. So, by the way, Matt LaFleur has stated that, and we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up, but Matt LaFleur stated he doesn't anticipate coaching changes. And he was specifically asked about Joe Barry, and he said, nope, Joe's not going anywhere. This is what Matt LaFleur had to say when asked specifically, hey, by the way, Joe Barry, is Joe really going to be around? Come on, man.
The next 2 weeks, obviously, it's time to make evaluations, and it's not finger pointing, it's just part of the process. Will Joe Barry be your defensive coordinator next year?
That's what I anticipate, yes. I would say this, that, like I said, we're at the initial stages of all the evaluations. And quite frankly, I don't really anticipate a whole lot, if any, staff changes at all. I do think there's something to the guys that we have in this building. Certainly, I think there's a lot of things that all of us can improve upon, most notably myself. But I do believe in the people, not only in the locker room, but our coaching staff. And, like I said, are there a lot of things that we got to improve upon? Absolutely. No doubt about it. But it's my intention to try to have everybody back. And I think continuity is a big part of having success in this league. And
now Steve says, well, I don't think he's going to tell everybody that he's getting rid of Joe Barry before Joe Barry's been fired. No, but there's always we haven't made any determinations on our coaching staff yet. We're going through the evaluation process. So my assumption is all of our coaches would be back, but we are all going to discuss, blah, 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 blah. There's a way of saying we just haven't done that yet. Or there's a way of saying I'm not going to say one way or the other without saying it. So that sounded more emphatic, like, yeah, he's going to be back. He's going to be back. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. When we come back, we got power rankings. To end the season, our final power rankings, the way this all kind of shakes out. And we'll go through those coming up next. Also, we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur as well. So we got a lot to get to. Stay tuned. Hey, don't forget about our friends at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill right there on Pewaukee Lake. Today is Tuesday. It means free darts, Taco Tuesday, all that kind of good stuff. They got a lot of good Mexican fare today. Happy Taco Tuesday, free darts. You got the Lakeview, the happy hour, the enchiladas, the chimichangas, all of that. Nachos, queso burgers. They have it all. Today's special, by the way, prime rib quesadilla. Yeah. That's Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill right there on Pewaukee Lake. Stop in, tell them we said howdy. More of the Bill Michael Show's next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michael Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bread. Delicious bread. It's so essential, it's often been exchanged like money throughout history. Well, at Quick Trip, our freshly made bread from our bakery saves you money. Because right now, our quick hot savings is Quick-Read white bread. Just 79 cents a loaf. 79 cents? Can you buy anything for 79 cents these days? Yup, a loaf of our fresh white bread. It's like inflation never happened here. So save some bread. Buying some bread. Just 79 cents a loaf. Only at Quick Trip. We got you covered.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Said, you know what? We'll support a locally owned business. We'll support a veteran-owned business. They're right here in Racine, Wisconsin. So they wanted to say thanks. BurnPitBBQ.com. And I just got, like I said, I got the gift box over the winter, right before Christmas. But I got a couple more sauces, and I'm looking forward to it this weekend because I'm going to do the ribs on a stick from our friend at Paul Roberts, but I'm not going to get them sauced. I'm going to do the ribs on a stick and sauce them with some of the guys' stuff from Burn Pit. And I'm going to do some hot sauce. I'm going to do some spicy honey sauce, all kinds of good stuff. They have many, many different types of sauces, rubs, hot sauces, you name it. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm geeked. Going to be doing some stuff from our friends at Burn Pit Barbecue. BurnPitBBQ.com. That is BurnPitBBQ.com. All right, time now for our power rankings. Ben, do we have some music? See if you agree with this. The worst team in the league is the Bears. They suck. We know the Texans kind of ruined themselves, but I give the Texans credit for getting out of the basement because they fought hard and so we got a lot of pride and they ended up getting a win, even though it did cost their head coach's job regardless. You've got the Rams coming in at number 30, the Broncos at 29, the Colts are just above them. Arizona sucks. They got rid of Cliff Kingsbury, their GM gone. Big changes. Kyler Murray wanted all the money, whined, moaned. I'm as valuable as everybody else. No, you kind of suck. And you have never in the history of your career in the NFL put an entire season together. But they were stupid enough to pay you all that money. So may they just kind of roll around in the mud with you for a long period of time. There you go. They're sitting at 27. Number 26. The Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders, or wherever they're at today, they stink. They're a terrible football team. They just are. Falcons coming in at number 25. Then you got the Browns at number 24. Panthers, number 23. Saints hanging in there, number 22. Not a bad way to go. I really thought the Jets were going to be better. I thought the Jets were going to end up on a high note. How in the world do you just keep mixing and matching quarterbacks? 3 different quarterbacks they use this season. You can't do that. I listened to what Kurt Warner had to say on the NFL Network about South reason 3 different quarterbacks, and that was a nightmare. That was a nightmare. They got to decide what they're going to do with Zach Wilson because he's not good. So at number 21, I got the Washington Commanders at number 20. There were some things, Sam Howell did okay in his first start, but come on, Carson Wentz, that's terrible. You've got number 19, the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill, is he the guy or not? And when he went down and they just didn't play well, their defense, fundamentally, they just kind of got sideways. They end up at 7-10. They're sitting at number 19. Then the Patriots at number 18. They got to fix the offense. The joke is, and I can't believe Bill Belichick is this, because Bill Belichick is one of the smartest coaches there is, but he's stupid. Matt Patricia is not an offensive coordinator. You got to go find somebody that's really going to help and work with Mac Jones. You just have to. Number 17, Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett got better as the season went on. That defense is viable. And Mike Tomlin, man, he proved he's a hell of a coach. They're sitting there at 9-8. And I got them at number 17. Number 16, just above them, which shouldn't be above them, really. But is the Packers. I really started bumping the Packers up, and I thought, this is it. This is for real. No, they're not. They're not. Number 15, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're number 15. There are teams that are better than them. And teams not in the postseason. I think the Steelers are better than them. I think the Lions are better than them. As a matter of fact, I have the Lions just ahead of them at number 14. The Seahawks, number 13. The Seahawks have to say thank you to the Detroit Lions, by the way. They got to send them some kind of a fruit basket just for what they did. Rightfully so. Then you get into more teams in the postseason. And I got the Dolphins sitting there at number 12. And basically because Tua's not back and you don't know about this quarterback situation, I don't know if Tua's going to play. They haven't really talked about it. We'll find out more tomorrow, but I don't think they can win on the road. I don't think they can win without Tua. Dolphins sitting at number 12. I got the Giants at number 11. Brian Dable, he's done a fantastic job, but we all knew this was kind of a paper champion to begin with, right? So I've got them sitting at number 11. Number 10, the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, Bueller. Number 9, Doug Peterson and those Jacksonville Jaguars. Like those Jaguars, man. That might be the team to root for out of all the teams. Number 8, and a close 8 and 9. I almost put the Jacksonville Jaguars up to number 8. I got the Chargers just ahead of them, 10-7 on the season. And it was kind of a strange way that everything got locked up, and now they got a long road in the postseason. But and now they face a long road trip to play the Jaguars, and that the Jaguars blew them out earlier in the season. So the Chargers and the Jaguars sitting right there at 8 and 9. Number 7. How about them Cowboys? Cowboys, what the hell? Dak Prescott. He's throwing picks like people give out Pez, man. I got it at number 7 is the Cowboys. Number 6 is the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are an enigma because they can be an incredibly dominant team or they could just suck swamp water. So I got them sitting at number 6. My top 5 go like this. Number 5, the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy, he's capable of winning games. The whole thing about Brock Purdy winning a Super Bowl, I don't know if I'm going to buy that. Not as of yet. But Kyle Shanahan is a fantastic coach, so I've got them at number 5. Number 4. They've fallen off. They're the top seed in the NFC, but Jalen Hurts a little off in his return last week. Whether or not he gets healthier and looks better, the defense, because they've taken some injuries too, they're sitting at number 4. Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, Cincinnati. Joe Burrow and the gang, they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. Joe Burrow is a quarterback that has emerged. He's proven himself. What they've done down the stretch has been nothing short of amazing. They did struggle in the second half with Baltimore, but I think they get the win, and I think they advance. And then sitting there at number 2 is the team that Cincinnati beat. That is the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs, they beat the Raiders and blew them out and did the ring around the rosy, got creative, got kind of crazy. But now we'll wait and see because it's going to come down to the Bills, Chiefs, or Bengals out of the AFC. And that's probably going to be your champion before it's all said and done, unless the Eagles really kind of put everything back on track and they look like the Eagles did about 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. But I got the Chiefs at number 2, and then the top spot is the Buffalo Bills. And it's not the sentimentality of the Buffalo Bills. It's just they overcame a lot to get ready to play the Patriots, did a really good job of kind of handling that situation, and it bonded that team. So 1, 2, 3, Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati. And that's the way I have them all panning out. So there you have it. That is the way things ended this season when it came to the power rankings, and the Green Bay Packers end their season via the power rankings sitting at number 16. Disappointing season, to say the very least, for the Green Bay Packers. Ben, any objections there? And how about your Eagles?
I think I'd have the Niners higher. As time goes on and more good games are put together, like Niners are kind of quarterback proof, right? And Purdy's showing he could do enough. So we'll see. They have to go on the road in the playoffs, which could change it. But I put them higher. They're dangerous. The Eagles, I feel really confident in, really.
Yeah.
I didn't think they ran any of their normal stuff against New York on Sunday. They just went in like vanilla preseason game plan and tried to beat. I mean, the Giants did not play any of their good players. So I think they just needed a win. They tried to keep Hurts healthy. They tried to keep everybody healthy. They did it. So I'm not concerned about how he looked. And frankly, like the team's more healthy and in a better spot than it was when Foles led them to the Super Bowl. So maybe I have a comparison point that's a big an anomaly because backup quarterback, backup left tackle, all that. But I feel good, frankly. And they have a bye. Like I would have them above some of the AFC teams that do have to go on the road to win it.
So, okay, I know you're going to be rooting for Philadelphia to get there. I mean, I've got, because a lot of friends still live in Cincinnati, I've got a sentimentality there. But who is our adopted, if it would it be the Jaguars?
It's the Jaguars,
it's the
Bill.
Jaguars.
Come on.
Yeah, I think it's the Jaguars. Too bad the Lions.
There's nothing to dislike there.
Right.
There's no Brady. There's no Cowboys.
Right. I think the Jaguars are going to be the team that, will kind of hang our hat on. So
plus, did you see that dude ripping guitar at their game against the Titans on Saturday?
Yes.
That's the most Jacksonville thing of all time. It was unbelievable.
Yes.
We need that on more of a center stage.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Well, there's no reason not to like Doug Peterson, and that's a Packers connection as well. Doug Peterson, the former backup quarterback to Brett Favre for the Green Bay Packers, so we'll go with that. So there you go. That is our power rankings. There you have it. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Lux Golf Bays. They're in Franklin, Wisconsin. They're heated. I mean, especially with the weather being warmer, you got to be getting that itch a little bit to get out and swing the clubs, right? No better place to go. Rent the bay. There's a bar. There's food. All kinds of good stuff. Get some buddies together, whether it's a Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday or Saturday night. Make it a date night. Go have some fun. Go to luxgolfbays.com. That is luxgolfbays.com. Located right there at the Rock Complex, Rock Ventures in Franklin. You know where everybody knows where Rock is. If you've ever been to Franklin, Wisconsin, everybody knows where that's at. Lux Golf Bays, right in there, man. Beautiful facility. Go to Luxe, luxgolfbays.com. That is luxgolfbays.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities. With maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers cleaned out their locker yesterday after losing to the Lions on Sunday night. Rookie linebacker Quay Walker apologized for being ejected from the game in the fourth quarter.
Just a selfish act of me. Very stupid and dumb. I say immature of me. I seem to overreact at times. And reached out to the trainer earlier today, talked to him for a long time. Continue to apologize and just pray that he forgive me. And also told him to reach out to the team if he can and to the other trainers as well.
Walker explained when Lions running back DeAndre Swift went down with an injury, he went to check on him. They're friends and former teammates at Georgia. When a Lions medical staffer pushed Walker aside, he shoved him back, and that's when he drew the flag. Matt LaFleur.
I'll never defend the action, but I'll defend the person. And I think Quay, he feels terrible about it, rightfully so. I don't think Quay is a malicious person.
And several Packers players will become free agents this spring. Tight end Robert Tonyan.
I think that's honestly the hardest part is not knowing who you're going to play with next year in terms of like just the reality of an NFL locker room. Just people come and go, daily, to be honest with you. And then, of course, after the season, you just never know. So that's kind of why you can't take things for granted and people for granted because you never know when you're going to play with them again or see them or, talk to them and feel their energy. So, that's probably the hardest part.
That's Packers tight end Robert Tonyan. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow night, 6 to 8, we're on the road. We're going to be the Thirsty Duck tomorrow night, 6 to 8 out in Sussex. So come on by and say hi. Thirsty Duck tomorrow night.
6 to 8 in Sussex, and it's been it's actually been a couple of names. That same place has been a couple of different names, but it's been a Thirsty Duck for a while now. So it's going to be going back. It's going to be going back. It's going to be there tomorrow night for the Bill Michaels Huddle. We got 3 or 4 of them left, as a matter of fact. But the huddle tomorrow night coming up at the Thirsty Duck in Sussex. And looking forward to it. Should be a good show. Yeah, we've got a few huddles left. We've got the Thirsty Duck, which is coming up tomorrow night. Next week, we're going to be in Franklin. Speaking of Franklin being down by the Rock, we're going to be at the Root River Center, which should be a fun one as we get into the postseason. Wednesday, January 25th, we're going to be at the New Berlin Ale House. New Berlin Ale House, which is awesome. And then Our last one of the season, Wednesday, February 1st, we're going to be at Fox's Pub and Grill right off of 76th Street down in the Greenfield area. We're going to be there, and that's our final one. And then 2 days later, Mike Clemens and I, Kristen, Erica, our staff, we all jet our way out to Arizona, and we start to bring you live coverage of the Super Bowl. So we will be out there for full Super Bowl coverage coming up again, which is going to be wild because the house is out there. It's crazy because you have, you know what's going on out there, Ben, right?
The Waste Management Phoenix Open.
You got it. And where
I can do a full preview that week.
Where we stay. I know. You should be coming with us. Remember, we talked about that last year. And I told Randy, we got to get you out there. We should have you on the ground with us, but you can't be because Ebo decided to take off, and Ebo's got something going on. I don't know what Ebo's doing. He's an eclectic human being, man. But he's taken off. And that would leave Nelson to do 2 shows, produce, write, recite, script, everything. And it would be crazy. But, yeah, with the Waste Management, because we are staying literally 3 miles away from the Waste Management Open. All right, we got another hour yet to go. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Coming up next.
The Packers are in full off-season mode. Players cleaned out their lockers yesterday while Coach Matt LaFleur held his end-of-season press conference. As expected, LaFleur was asked about potential staff changes after a disappointing 8-9 season, including whether defensive coordinator Joe Barry would return for a 3rd season.
That's what I anticipate, yes. I would say this. Like I said, we're at the initial stages of all the evaluations, and quite frankly, I don't really anticipate a whole lot, if any, staff changes at all. I do think there's something to the guys that we have in this building. Certainly, I think there's a lot of things that all of us can improve upon, but I do believe in the people.
LaFleur said he would sit down with Aaron Rodgers at some point this week, talk about his upcoming decision. Well, he said he saw enough from left tackle David Bakhtiari that he believes he can play at an elite level again after 2 years impacted by injury. GM Brian Gutekunst slated to speak to the media on Friday. Turning to the Badgers, they have landed a commitment from 4-star transfer quarterback Braden Locke. He was with Mississippi State last year, has 4 years of eligibility remaining.
Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucks came back from 17 down to beat the Knicks last night in the first game of a 4-game road trip. They'll be in Atlanta tomorrow. And number 18, Wisconsin, going to look to bounce back tonight against Michigan State after the Badgers' first Big Ten loss of the season against Illinois over the weekend. They will likely have to do it without Tyler Wall. Senior remains sidelined with an ankle injury. Tip is at 6. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Destination. If you're trying to find a place for a corporate meeting, a conference, place to go and hang, get away, Four Seasons Island Resort, they have over 10,000 square feet of banquet space, lodging, catering, activities. Call our girl Barb, B-A-R-B, Barb, 715-938-5110. 715-938-5110. Let me give it to you again. 715-938-5110. They have the Muscano Island Chocolate Festival coming up February 28th. chocolate vendors, drinks, chocolate ice cream, chocolate desserts. If you like chocolate, that's the place to be. Then they have partnered again with Pine Mountain Resort. So if you're looking for a destination in the UP and you want to go up there for a meeting, they have a terrific golf course up there, by the way. They do have ski packages still available at Pine Mountain Ski and Golf Resort. They have condos, indoor pool, hot tub, sauna, ski school right there on site. So a lot of different stuff. You can book online at pinemountainresort.com. But call our girl Barb, either place, 715-938-5810, or 5110, excuse me, 715-938-5110, 715-938-5110. Get a hold of our girl Barb. There you go. Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I get to the phone calls coming up here in just a second, but Roquan Smith, the linebacker for the Ravens, signs a $100 million contract. He gets an extension done. And Ben, another quarterback coming to Wisconsin. Man, they went from having nobody to what, they got 4 now?
Yeah. 4, and then they also got more commitments in the future. It's huge. I mean, they've rebuilt a room that was in shambles when Fickell and Phil Longo, who is the big key here, the offensive coordinator.
Right.
When they took over. So now they have a proven guy in Tanner Mordecai who will start this season.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 former 4-stars that are redshirt freshmen that are more projects that are younger.
Right.
And the kid they got today, Braden Locke and Nick Evers. And then more recruits coming in. And then obviously the ones that are already there. So it's exciting.
Here's my question. Boy, it's terrible. I should remember his name. It's off the top of my head. I'm kind of like starting to, lose my escapability here.
Graham Mertz.
No, not Graham Mertz. Thank you very much. Miles Burkett. I'm thinking in my head. Miles Burkett, the freshman, came out of Franklin. Where does he stand in all of this?
That's a good question. I mean, we'll learn so much during spring ball. So much has happened in the last 3 weeks that we have no idea what it's going to look like. It's hard to project. I think it is easy to project for just this season, though.
Right.
Tanner Mordecai, the kid they brought in. I mean, he's one of the more productive quarterbacks in the country the last 2 years. So that seems like an easy shoe-in. And Burkett's the same age as Evers and as the kid they got today, too. So I have no clue. I think he fits in with them. He's at the same point in the career as they are. And then we'll see as spring ball goes on and as the years go on, kind of how that all shakes out.
So just an FYI, during the break, Callie sends me a note and says, and Callie is a friend of a friend of a friend, basically. They hang in a group of people that I know that all live out now, or not in California, but in Arizona. And he's listening to the show. Callie says, "Why is Ben not coming? Please explain. We had the extra room." So we've got rooms. We've rented a house, a 3-floor, 4-bedroom house. And they want to know why you're not coming. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Without getting and boring everybody, we're going to give you a glimpse behind the scenes because Ben produces this program every day, does a damn fine job doing it. But you also work in the morning with Nelson, better known as Rowdy, and you also work with Ebo in the morning. And Ebo will be gone that week. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. Yes, he's on vacation that week. I also have my show at night on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, well, see, you could do it from Radio Row, though.
I could, but we're live at Monk's.
Right.
I don't know what our agreement with them looks like.
You could send Zach over there and be live and say, Zach then kicks it out to cool. You're at Monk's. Zach's sitting there by himself. We know Zach's handling because when you're not there, Zach is getting all the women were throwing big giant panties at him and everything. And Zach's sitting there schooling. And then you're sitting at the table out in Arizona with all the leftover stuff. You got college athletes walking around. You got prospects. Lee Steinberg's there. He's giving you all the latest on the guys that he's repping. You could be talking all kinds of collegiate stuff. It's just a thought, but I know that Ebo's not going to be around, so that kind of throws a monkey wrench in the whole deal.
Yeah, they'd kill me. I mean, it would be a great week. It might be my last week also, though.
Yeah. Ebo's been apparently training to run a marathon with his cat, so he's got that going on that week. So, okay.
Now, sources tell me he does no cardio. He neglects his heart's well-being. That's what sources say.
Well,
sources say it's all about bulking, which some are wondering whether that's good.
If you lift and you do work hard, you do create cardio through lifting, but you also are once you lift, you're supposed to do cardio at least 10 minutes of it after you lift, because then that perpetuates your heart rate all the way through the rest of the day. I don't know if you knew that. You're not supposed to do cardio ahead of lifting. You're supposed to do it after you lift. Even on leg
that's
day.
all foreign to me, clearly.
Yeah, even on leg day. So, but there's always a bulking of it. Now, I will say this. He does some stuff that I can no longer do. I was watching him do some deadlifts the other day, and I'm like, boy, I used to be able to do that. No problem. And couldn't do it now if I tried. Not to mention the fact that if I tried to do a deadlift, my lower back would probably snap, but I'd probably poop myself along the way. That wouldn't be a good thing right there in the gym. I can't do that anymore. So,
cool.
But cool. Nobody needs that. Anyway,
and I
go ahead.
I mean, let's be honest here. The real reason I'm not going is because on Thursday, and there's a pro-am on Wednesday, probably from Wednesday on, I'm completely out of touch. I will not be reached. I would in theory be at the waste management.
Right. Yeah, you would be no use to. Once we got on Wednesday night, you'd be no use to us.
Yeah, they would find me in one of the bunkers, like that guy outside American Family Field.
Right. Yeah, you'd be throwing beer cans under the green and into the fairway, and you'd be no use to us at all. So I completely understand that. Next year, the Super Bowl's in Vegas. Vegas, baby! We're going to be in Vegas. And then in 2 years, it is in New Orleans. And New Orleans is a unique destination because you can go to New Orleans and think of Bourbon Street, a little bit of fun, some Mardi Gras type atmosphere, getting ready for the Super Bowl. There's a lot going on down there. But there is a side of New Orleans, man, as dark and voodoo and spirits, and yeah, it's just spooky place. You come back with like curses on you and stuff, so you gotta be careful in New Orleans. Although I will say this, they got some great food down there.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, but you're gonna go down there, come back talking like Brian Kelly.
No, I don't think. I hope Brian Kelly's around. I really do.
Of course,
I hope he's around. God, what a turd. He's a hell of a coach too, and that just sucks. That a guy that's that big of a turd is that good at what he does. But you got to give him props. But he's just a turd. He is. By the way, the Packers drafting 15th this year. For those that are already looking ahead, the Packers will be drafting 15th. So not way down the board, so to speak, middle of the pack when it comes to, pardon the pun, when it comes to basically middle of the pack when it comes to the NFL draft. Packers are going to be drafting 15th. So the Badgers continue to acquire quarterbacks. Roquan Smith has got $100 million. So there you have it. 877-867-1670. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Sue listening to us in Appleton. Sue, how are you doing today? What's going on?
Hey, Bill. How are you? First-time caller. Love your show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. What's up?
You killed it yesterday.
Did I? Okay.
Hey, a couple things. You were talking about, did we overestimate our talent? That game Sunday, perfectly healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were perfectly healthy, and that was our product.
Yep.
And so I guess I didn't think we did, but I guess maybe in hindsight we did overestimate our talent. As far as Rodgers goes, I don't know what to say for us, but I agree with you so much that if he comes back, he's got to be all in, and he's got to get his butt in Green Bay.
Right.
In the preseason.
100%.
Yeah. So let me ask you something else that I don't really clearly, I don't pretend to know about defenses, too high safety, all that stuff.
Right.
But I heard that term a lot this year. And Aaron saying that they played too high safety, and it seems we really struggled when they did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, why didn't we make adjustments for that all year? I don't understand.
That's a great question. It was whether or not guys were getting open, if they could get open in certain routes, if the pass rush was in his face. When the one thing was when he threw the pick, it was a single high. And that was the thing that was kind of disconcerting I believe it was single high, was the fact that normally single high coverage, I mean, he's on a laser. I mean, that throw to Aaron Jones was a lofted, wounded duck that just floated way too long and allowed the either that or he just didn't see the safety and he just misread the defense, one of the two. But I have no idea why it took so long to get there. But you're right. When he kept talking about that all throughout the season, you go too high safety and too high safety back, you should be able to run the ball more. That's the thing is if they're bringing safeties and corners to the line of scrimmage, you can sometimes get over the top, specifically with a guy like Christian Watson. But if you've got too high safety, single coverage on the outside, why are you not running the ball? Now if they're doing if they're bringing linebackers into the box and they're bringing six, that makes it a little difficult. But, that's where you go to crossing patterns with a tight end or a slot receiver or both. And there was none of that. Cobb was used sporadically at times to go across the middle. So was Lazard, but you didn't see Tanyan spreading the defense, keeping the defense back on their toes at all. None of that. They didn't. It seemed like the play calling was all over the place. It at times they would come in and they would just look like world beaters in the first 15, 16 plays. And after that, it was like they just lost themselves. They just couldn't figure it out. I agree with you, Sue. Thank you so much for the phone call. And thanks for listening. And no, don't be a stranger. But there was so many things in the play calling this year when we can say, why didn't they fix that? Why didn't they adjust? Why didn't they run this or that? And a lot of the times I can sit here and say, wow, it's, like the old, I used to get calls all the time. Well, the Packers used to run the screen better than anybody. And they did, but times have changed. It's not as easy unless you have defensive ends and such just crashing down. And it's tough to run a screen. If guys stay home, you're not going to be able to do that. So anyway, this year, it was like the other night what was the endless use of the end around? Why were they going to wide receivers running the football wide? Why was that being used so much? It just, especially on the fourth down play to Alan Lazard, Chill Alaska. What the hell was that? That's your fourth down play when your offensive line's getting beat up anyway, and that was the other disconcerting thing was they were losing in the trenches. So even if Rodgers did have downfield capability, he didn't have time to throw the football at times. This offensive line settled down the mid portion of the season and looked pretty good. And then Bakhtiari went down. They were mixing it up again. And, obviously things ended up the way they did. But, they need another again. Now, we don't know what Sean Ryan's going to add to the mix, but he's got to come back from his PED suspension. And you got, because you had some guys that went down with injury this year. So to say they were 100% healthy, not necessarily true, because Jake Hansen was beat up. Remember, he went to the IR. So Hansen was down. And, you're looking at guys, obviously Zach Tom has been good. Sean Ryan's going to have to prove himself. Elton Jenkins signed the contract. Bakhtiari, you got to figure out. Josh Myers is your center, no doubt. Royce Newman got his ass handed to him this year. Yash on the outside, didn't look good. Now there's Rasheed Walker. There's Caleb Jones. I like Caleb Jones is, there's a bunch of little Sherpas right now with goats and such, and they're on the backside of Caleb Jones, and they're trying to climb him. That's how big that dude is. I would love to see Caleb Jones continue to develop because I think he played pretty well in the preseason, and I hopefully he's learned and he's able to come back next year and be strong because I'd love to see that dude turn into a right tackle. Holy crap. He'd be solid as hell. But, yeah, the offensive line needs some work on it as well. But to answer your question, there's never been a real explanation. I'd love to sit down with Matt LaFleur and just say, what the hell? Explain to me philosophically why things were the way they were. Not that I'm ever going to get that answer, but it just never looked right. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, we all know there's a misnomer out there because we all know that Damar Hamlin was released from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. He is hospitalized, but in Buffalo, at Buffalo General Medical Center and at the Gates Vascular Institute. He's going through a series of tests and evaluations today, but he is still there. He's in great spirits. We know he's tweeted and such. And I would love nothing more than to see him get out and be able to walk on the field, say Sunday, and be able to wave to the fans or be there in the stands and be shown on the big screen in attendance to watch his guys. I would love that. I don't know if it'll happen. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I would love to see that. That would be an emotional uplift to be able to see that happen, hopefully on Sunday, if indeed it could actually happen. All right, let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more to get to. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends down there at Stenny's. Second and National Walker's Point. Got some games on board downtown Milwaukee. Oh, they run shuttles. Admirals games, Bucks games, Marquette games, UW Panther games. They got them all. They run, and plus concerts and such downtown. Stop down to, I just got an email the other day that said, hey, where's some places to go? I said, always go to Calderon Club or go to Stenny's, depending on if you want really good Italian food or if you're looking to go to a bar with a great atmosphere that runs shuttles to the games. Don't worry about parking. Just go over and back with Stenny's. That's the place to go. Stenny's, Second and National Walker's Point, and coming soon to Lake Country. I can't wait for the one in Lake Country. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute.
Looking for a great night out? Potawatomi Hotel Casino
They have good stuff. Whether you're looking for a stay and play, they have different restaurants inside Potawatomi, not to mention some really good music, DJs, events coming up, and bingo is back. Or if you just want to go over there and hang out, sit in a 360 bar, just enjoy yourself, meet a few friends. Really cool place, a lot of action, a lot of vibrantness to it. That's our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. For all the information, go to paysbig.com. That is paysbig.com, paysbig.com. Back to the phones. Let's go to Brian listening to us in Sheboygan. Brian, how you doing today, man?
Doing well. How are you, Big Unit?
I am doing great, Brian. You know, we got to get it back on WHBL up there. We got to do that. We got to get it back on HBL in Sheboygan. That was a great place to be.
Yep. We'd love to have you. All right. Maybe you address this. I don't know. I've been in and out of the car, but the lack of discipline, weren't these fellas talked to before the game? I mean, shoving a trainer, this type of thing, or a medical person, walking into the line and pushing the ball. Weren't these things addressed earlier? I mean, here's where I really got to go and say, what the hell did the coaches do?
The discipline aspect with Quay Walker, it's happened now twice. So, one, he should know better. Yep. But two, when you talk about discipline, whether it's something like that or when you talk about the defense where guys were kind of going rogue, that's on coaching. Whether it's Joe Barry for his defense or Matt LaFleur for the overall head coach being, that's coaching. You know, we talk about teams that are very undisciplined, that have a lot of penalties, that do a lot of stupid things, false starts, even the little thing. That's coaching. You have to have a detail-oriented coach and a very disciplinary-minded coach to say, this crap is unacceptable. I'm not going to stand for it. And maybe that's what Rodgers was alluding to earlier this year when he said, hey, there's some guys in this team that maybe if they keep committing the same problems and the same issues, we need to go with other guys. And maybe that's what Rodgers was trying to point out was this is an undisciplined team that just kind of does their own thing, and LaFleur doesn't have a handle on it. And I thought that was somewhat of a backhanded indictment of Matt LaFleur, to be honest with you.
Well, I agree on that, and they should, and maybe they need reminding right before this is the biggest game of the year, albeit,
right.
And guys, when you get in there, keep your head on, otherwise I'd tell them, otherwise you're going to be on the unemployment line, no matter how good you are. I mean, you're costing us, and that's not what we pay you for.
Right. You can't make money if you're sitting on the bench. Nobody's going to get that long contract when you're a disciplinary problem and you're sitting there and they say, we can't deal with you anymore. 877. Exactly. Yeah, appreciate it, pal. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Thanks for listening to Sheboygan, too. Like I said, man, if you're up there, call our friends at HBL. Call WHBL. It's a great radio station. We'd love to be on that station again. We were on there at one point, and then they went all politics. Politics sucks. It just does. At least we all have a common anger. That's not being in the postseason rather than politics, which divides us, Let's go. Marshfield being heard from. Let's go to John listening to us in Marshfield. How you doing, John?
Hey.
John.
Who?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I don't know what John's doing. We were so happy to have somebody listening to us in WOSQ up there, the ESPN affiliate. We got to get Wisconsin Rapids back on, too. That's another one. Got to do that again. We'll get there. We got to grow. 877-867-1670. Let's go to Florida, right? And all of us just do us in. How you doing today, man? What's up?
I'm pretty good.
I'm doing good, man. What you thinking?
Your show. I want to kind of echo what Sue earlier said about how you nailed it yesterday. I really, I was going, yeah. But then now I hear about how LaFleur is not going to make any real coaching changes. And I'm just going, what? Everything you said, who thinks they're going to do anything like you said? Which they need to do, but I don't believe that's going to happen.
Right.
He's going to go there and talk to Aaron and say, Aaron, what do you want to do? Anyway, that's just my thought. And I thank you again for your show. I love it. Listen to it a lot. And you have a great day.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it, man. 877-867-1670. You want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Interesting stuff. People listening all over the United States, for that matter. I don't know what happened. We used to have a guy named Graham McDowell. He used to listen to us all the time. He was over in Scotland. Listen to the program. And I haven't heard from him in a few weeks. So I don't know what happened to Graham. Hopefully he's doing okay. If anybody's in Scotland listening to the program, let me know Graham's doing well. Not that Graham is not an uncommon.
Wait, the Graham McDowell?
No, not Graham McDowell. Not the Graham McDowell, no.
Oh, I was going to say, it's been a tough couple of months for that.
You know what? I don't know. It could have been, but I don't think it was. But his name was Graham McDowell. He used to email me all the time. And I don't know if he's, got something going on or what, but no, I don't think it was the golfer Graham McDowell. No. But he had he would send me pictures. They have over in Scotland, they have a Packerbacker bar over there. As a matter of fact, it used to be, I don't know if it still is. Is southendzone.com still? I should probably look at it, but is southendzone.com still running?
No.
No? Well, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It was southendzone.com, used to be, and I don't know if it still is. I'd have to go look at it fully, but it used to be a place that you could go and look for Packer bars. And it was, and I don't see that now on this southendzone.com, but it used to be a place you could go and see Packer bars all over the world. And I don't even know what the website is anymore that lists that, but it used to, but they had a whole grouping of, I think, 3 or 4 big Packer bars in Scotland. And it was cool because he would go to the different bars and send us pictures of all the Packerbackers that morning, getting together and cheering on the Packers. It was really neat. And it was kind of a good affiliation. So, but I haven't heard from him in a while. PackersEverywhere.com became the thing. Packers, okay. That's the Packers site. You know that, right? Pack fan says. Scott from South End Zone stopped doing that when Packers Everywhere became a thing. Okay. When the Packers took it over, basically. Because that's a Packers run site. Packers Everywhere. At least that worked. At least Packers Everywhere works. Because some of the marketing things, because the Packers take it, they're trying to own everything. And I get it. It's their product. But Packers, southendzone.com was run by the fans. Packers Everywhere is run by the Packers. And I don't know what the criteria is to get on there, but, I would assume if, South End Zone was everybody. Hey, we're at Johnny's Bar and Grill. We're going to be here this weekend. Come on out. I don't think you can do that at Packers Everywhere. Not that I go to Packers Everywhere, but I don't know. It's kind of like when they forced the marketing version of the G-Force down our throats. That was terrible. G-Force was terrible. They tried to put a song to it, like everybody was going to learn it. Everybody knows the Bears still suck far more than they ever knew the G-Force song. It's got to be organic. It's like a cheesehead. It's got to be organic. It just got to pop up one day and you go, oh, that's cool. And everybody jumps on. And that's how it grows. So there you have it. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Sunset Grill at the Sunset Grill in Pewaukee. Stop on in. Tell them hi. Good stuff. You can sit out there and, well, now you can't watch any of the guys in the fishing shanties because it's been so warm. But still go out at night, catch yourself some happy hour, watch the sunset on Pewaukee Lake. Good way to go. Good food out there, too. If you're doing the rounds, you go to Curly's, you go to Sunset Grill, you just keep going back and forth. They're right near each other. That's a hell of a pub crawl right there. Yeah. Out on Pewaukee Lake. Stop in and tell them we said hi. More Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. This
January. Hit the road. The road to riches at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Play each day for thousands in free play and entries into the big $200,000 grand finale. The more you play, the closer you get to big money. So, hit the road, Jack, or Jill, or whatever your name might be. The road to riches, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/road2riches. Must be 21 years old to play.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 2029. You heard that right. No interest up to the year 2029 if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 2029, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hear.
Welcome back. Good to have you, our good buddy Scott Ellis. Oh, yeah, getting it done. This time of year, you're looking for a couple of things. If you're a homeowner, you're looking, one, maybe you're thinking about selling. Two, maybe you're thinking about buying. Or three, you're thinking about getting some of that cash back to pay off the debts that you just kind of incurred over the last 6 months, something like that, going into Christmas, inflation, whatever. And I know the interest rates have gone up. Okay, I understand that. But he says, hey, you can go ahead and refi now, or you can get your home equity loan now, and then refi again in a year when the rates go back down. They're expected to go back down by then, you would assume. But he said, whatever you want to do, use the equity in your home, or if you're looking to buy, do what I did. I mean, with Homeside Financial, I used Scott for my mortgage. He did an outstanding job. Always available, always answered a question, gave me the best advice. So, whether the interest rate was low or high, it doesn't matter. You can always refi your loan later on when you want to as well. But he was always there and walked me through the process. And it was like I didn't really have to do anything. He just sent me everything, said, here you go. Sign up, sign a paper. And it worked out great. And basically took at the time, I think it was almost $1,200 a month off of my mortgage. He's fantastic. 414-791-7771. Make your money work for you in 2023. 414-791-7771. 414-791-7771. That's our buddy Scott Ellis. And go ahead and give him a shout. 414-791-7771. Or just go scottellisteam.com. scottellisteam.com. You're good there. Marcus says, hey, Bill, do you notice a drop in listeners after the Packers are done for the season? A slight period of depression for some fans, or are they diehards, and they're in it for the long haul? Love the show. Marcus, that's a great question. And we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up here momentarily, by the way. So I just want to make you aware of it. To answer your question, yeah. First of all, Packers reign supreme in the state of Wisconsin and Packers Nation. It just does. And the NFL is a 24/7, 365 business. That we know as well. During the summer months, you get into July or training, kind of a dead period. Travel, they don't have the same listening habits, albeit things have changed in radio and terrestrial radio because a lot of people consume their shows now in different ways, such as you that are watching or listening over on the Bud Light live stream and on YouTube, on Twitch TV, on Facebook, over on Twitter. There's plenty of ways to consume the program. There's an app, which is the best way to get the show each and every day, is to download the app, which out of our flagship station out in Madison is The Zone, WOZN, The Zone Madison. You can download that on your phone and put it on your phone. It's right there. You can, participate in the show that way. And it plugs in or Bluetooth through your car. So it doesn't matter. I listen to it even when we're traveling. Like when we go to Super Bowl, I'll still listen to everything going on in the state of Wisconsin with the apps on my phone that Bluetooth into the car that I'm renting, you see. So there's plenty of ways to consume the program. But to answer your question, a long-winded roundabout way is, yeah, we see a bit of a drop-off. Once football season gets going again, it becomes full force. But there is nothing. There was nothing like the Packers, from October through January, and even into January and hopefully February back again soon. And it just continues to crescendo. Our show on Sunday night after the game, the reach alone, if you go to the Facebook page, was 70,806. Just the reach. The viewership was, I think, in the 20 or 30,000 range, but that's the combination of everything and the reconstitution of everything. So, and I haven't really sat down and looked at those numbers, but you just look over the last 28 days, just off of our insights from Facebook, just Facebook. Okay. The people reached just the last 28 days is 86,286,000. The people that have actually engaged with us, 2.6 million people. And we've grown by almost 700, likes, and our follows have grown by, I think, 1,000. It's crazy when the Packers get close to the postseason. What happens? It's just bananas. So, and it'll slow down. Absolutely, it just does. We'll be out at Super Bowl, and a lot of people will be intrigued by what it is we do, but yeah, it'll slow down a little bit. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Let's go to Xavier listening to us in Madison. Xavier, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Hey, good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, yeah. The best thing about me, first-time caller, first-time listener.
Glad to have you. Yep.
You got a pretty good show.
Thank you.
But I can look at from the outside in. You guys look at from the inside out. So I'm a Cowboys fan. Let me put that out there. I don't like the Pack. Let me put that out there. But that's not even the reason I'm calling. The reason, and just so you can put that with your answer, the reason I'm calling is because last year I even told them that Aaron was going to go back. He was just trying to get a bigger contract, and he went back. This year, he didn't switch out shirts like he usually does. Do you think that he's not going to go back, or was that just a ploy to make more money? Because if he just goes back to work and doesn't even throw a ball, he makes $49 million.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Somebody in northern Wisconsin just won a $15 million lottery, and that is freaking ecstatic.
Yeah.
He just for showing up, he makes more than 3 times the amount of that dude's lottery.
Right. No, I agree with you. I appreciate the phone call. He did not give. You're right. Somebody had asked him for his jersey, a jersey trade, and he did not do it. Now, here's the thing, because a lot of people made a big deal about that, and there's 2 things. I don't know, one, if he does that, if he has done that on the regular to where he has traded jerseys with players that have asked for it. I always remember Aaron Rodgers going to the locker room with a jersey on. So I don't remember Aaron Rodgers ever leaving the field without a jersey. So I don't know. And then the second thing is, did he hang on to it because it's his last dance, so to speak, at Lambeau Field, or because he wants to donate it to a different charity? Or I have no idea. So, I mean, I know that, he addressed it, I guess, after the game, according to Pac Fan, and I didn't get a chance to listen to his whole presser. I did listen to the majority of it, but, and I didn't. Ben, did you hear why he didn't trade jerseys?
No, I didn't think it was that big a deal, but
I didn't think so either. If you can find the actual comment, that'd be great. But I don't ever remember Rodgers leaving the field without a jersey on. I don't think it's something he does. to be honest with you. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670.
Also, my bad. I didn't realize he was a Cowboys fan.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll take them all. He'll convert one day.
My man sounded like he was in a blast zone.
Yeah, I know. He was getting ready to fire some things up. Yeah. Yep. 877-867-1670. Apparently he said he was going to send him one, but he was going to hang on to that one. This is from Thomas. Thomas says, hey, unit, would love to see more subscribers over on YouTube. How come you know what? Here's getting into all of this with numbers and stuff, and then I'm going to take a quick break, but I don't really promote much. There are some people in podcasts and such that have 500,000 followers. I don't, it's Ben and I, that's it. We do so much and that's it. And if people find us, that's great. You know, I'd love to be able to promote more and do certain things and pay for promoting and all that. I'd love to do all that. But there's only so many hours in the day. It's just Ben and I. And by the way, we do other things. We do many other things. Some people, that's all they do. That's their deal. And that's fine. That's great. You know? But I would, you know, I'm happy with what we have. And I would love to do more. Obviously, I'd love to grow it more, but I'm always astounded about how many people follow us and just find us and stumble upon us and say, hey, this is okay. Would love to have it. Quick break coming up, and then we're going to be right back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Hey, it's 2023. Make a break from the usual. If you haven't tried Scholze Family Beef yet, make it your New Year's resolution. Go to ScholzeFamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers have exit meetings and are packing their belongings after a season-ending loss to the Lions on Sunday Night Football. I asked Matt LaFleur on what's the importance of these one-on-one meetings over the next several days.
Kind of sets the path for us over the course of the offseason. Get a chance to have a lot of great conversations with players, coaches, really everybody involved in our whole football operation, and look at everything that we do and how can we do it better.
And Christian Watson met with reporters one last time before clearing out his locker. The rookie receiver was asked what he hopes to work on during the offseason.
There's a couple of things, that I can work on going forwards. But I mean, I'm just trying to improve it in all aspects. And I'm sure there's a couple, one or two things that I'll focus on heavily. But I mean, this game is, different at this level for sure. And, to get to the point that I want to get to in my career, I'm just going to have to keep on growing.
That's Packers wide receiver Christian Watson. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the
Michael Show. We continue on, wrapping things up. Tomorrow, you got Mark Schofield, SB Nation, going to be joining us. Peter Bukowski, Locked on Packers podcast, going to be here as well. Going to be chatting with him. You know what? We'll push back some of the comments from Matt LaFleur till tomorrow. Andy Herman's going to be here. Bill Huber's going to be here later this week. Maybe. Could we possibly say Luke Fickell? Maybe. We'll see. See what happens there. Try to get him on the program. A lot of good stuff. I do want to get I got some people that have been on hold a while. Let's go back to Marty. Welcome to the program, man. Marty, how you doing, man?
Great. I'm listening also up on WOSQ up in the Marshfield area.
Awesome.
And one in Marshfield, there was a gentleman in Marshfield that played for the Marshfield Tigers, and his name was Adam Stenovich, now the Green Bay Packers offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
When the Packers when Matt LaFleur made Adam Stenovich the offensive coordinator, okay, now Matt's calling the plays. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Why I keep on scratching my head. And again, Adam, super nice guy. I can't understand why you would make a offensive lineman the offensive coordinator.
Well, I mean, look, Bill Belichick made Matt Patricia a defensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator. I mean, if a guy's got a sense of how to call plays or how to kind of set up the meeting room and how to block and how to do certain things, Stenovich was a guy that was running the offensive line and did a really good job at it, understands the offense. But Matt LaFleur, for all intents and purposes, is the guy that calls the plays. Sometimes, much like, when Joe Philbin was here, Joe Philbin was a good offensive guy, but he was really good at day-to-day stuff and setting up the room and setting up all the film study and all that stuff and picking out certain plays for guys to look at and working with guys. Philbin was really good at that, even though Mike McCarthy called the plays. It's kind of the same situation now where Matt LaFleur is calling the plays and setting up the game plan. It's just Stenovich is there kind of working with him, working with Tom Clements, working with Aaron Rodgers, and trying to put it all together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason.
And there was one other thing, Bill. During Aaron Rodgers' press conference after the loss to the Lions, he mentioned something that I thought was very just off the collar. Just didn't sound right. He mentioned the have been same mistake over and over this year and corrected it. And do you know what mistake that was, or does Mike Clemens know what that mistake was?
No, I don't know what the same mistakes were. I mean, they had a lot of similar mistakes, I guess, or things that they did that were problematic. I would agree with that, but I don't know. That's a great question. He never got specific in some of the same mistakes that they were making. Now, obviously, they had certain penalties. They had certain issues where you just looked at times like guys were, planting themselves in an open space and Rodgers was throwing downfield or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Sammy Watkins turned in instead of turning out. It was just, it was a lot of the same mistakes in that sense. But beyond that, I have no idea specifically what he was talking about.
Yep. Thank you very much, Bill.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. All right, there you go. He drops. That's it. That'll do it. time for us to get out of here before the music starts playing. We got about 20 seconds. But again, coming up tomorrow, Mark Schofield, SB Nation, Peter Bukowski, Locked on Packers podcast. Hope to talk to Andy Herman at some point. We're going to start talking some offseason stuff, Green Bay Packers stuff, obviously. Bill Huber from SI later this week. So we're going to talk to Bill. We're going to do the entire coverage of the Green Bay Packers, and obviously we kind of wait to see if any papal smoke comes out of 1265 Lambeau Field when it comes to coaches hired and fired and such, or if guys will or will not be coming back. There you have it. Good stuff today, man. A lot of good stuff today. Thanks to everybody watching over on the Bud Light live stream. We certainly appreciate you being here. Thanks to everybody participating on YouTube, over on Facebook, over on Twitch TV, everybody that emailed the program as well. Perfect stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate it as always. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we're going to be at the Thirsty Duck in Sussex, 6 to 8 tomorrow night. Brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Can't wait for that as well. Start making your plans to get out tomorrow night. Talk some postseason football with us. I wish the Packers were playing, but we're still going to get good